As you can see, the Oakland Raiders have won the toss. They have deployed themselves in the kickoff receiving position. Looking down the field, it's Ira Matthews, number 43, and Malcolm Barnwell. Malcolm Barnwell, by the way, is one of the speedsters on this Oakland Raider team that really is not a very fast team. They get things done in the proper way. But this young man, Malcolm Barnwell, can really fly. On the injured reserve last season was a 7th-round draft pick from Virginia Union. And putting the ball up in the tee for the Minnesota Vikings, Rick Danmeyer. The Vikings 9-7 a year ago, winning the Central Division of the NFC, I might say once again, because they are perennial champions. The Oakland Raiders 11-5, and they played their wild card right into the Super Bowl, where they won it all. And the quick shift by the Minnesota Vikings. Will they try the onside kick? No, they kick to the corner, and it will be Ira Matthews. They kick away from the speed. Matthews piled up out over the 25-yard line, and we will see offensively the Oakland Raiders come out onto the field. Howard is a team, I think, that was disappointed in Denver last week. They couldn't put anything together.
Well, they were not playing their game. They may have accepted all the plaudits in the Super Bowl victory too readily, and also their real leader, Al Davis, has been busy with his lawsuit against the NFL, even as Pete Rozelle has been busy with the defense of that suit. Now, according to Davis, they're ready to go to work tonight. Look for them to throw deep against young cornerbacks.
And Bob Chandler, the gifted receiver, not with the team. He was hurt in Denver. As we watch on 1st and 10, Kenny King turn the left side, run into trouble there as the Vikings move out of their 3-4 defense, which is very new to them. We'll take a look at it. They have not been a good pass rushing team for a long time. The old cliche, they will bend, but they seldom break, Howard, holds true for these Vikings.
Their greatest strength is in those linebackers whom you just saw. Their greatest weakness may be right there. They play a deep zone. It is the Davis theory. No matter what the other team's strength is, go with your strength. Throw deep, even against that zone.
Kenny King got a couple, 2nd down and 8. Kenny King, once again, right side, piled up, line of scrimmage. Capacity crowd of 48,000 plus, loves it. Howard mentioned the linebackers of the Minnesota Vikings that actually dictated their move to a 3-4. Scott Studwell had beaten out Jeff Seaman a year ago, the longtime 9-year veteran middle linebacker. And by going to a 3-4, they can get Studwell, 55, and Jeff Seaman both in the lineup. And they're good hard hitters. They have good outside linebackers in Matt Blair, 59, and Fred McNeil, 54. It's 3rd down and 7. The ball just short of the 30-yard line. Morris Bradshaw, 81, top of your screen. The speedster Cliff Branch to the left. And Plunkett with good protection. Bradshaw, intended receiver, far overthrown as Plunkett laid it up, probably just to get the attention of the secondary. If he was going to get an interception, that would have been almost as good as a punt. So out will come the punting team. And that will mean one of the best who's ever performed. And what a game he had against Denver. Gray guy, averaging nearly 57 yards. He had one of 69 yards, and he is quite an athlete. Eddie Payton and his mother, Eileen, down in Jackson, Mississippi, must be very proud of the Payton boys. Walter is his brother. Gray guy. Short hops it. I told you he's a good athlete. It doesn't get away from him, and he booms it way back to Payton at the 15-yard line. Payton, nice little move. Finds an opening on the left side. He's out over the 35, close to the 39 on a 56-yard punt by Ray Guy.
They love Eddie Payton in this town. Most of you Monday Night Football fans will remember, as you look at the Vikes offensive backfield, the extraordinary night he had in the Silverdome when with Detroit against this very Minnesota team. 2 of the best kick runs we have ever seen on Monday Night Football. There's the Vikes offensive line. Again, a note to take close cognizance of Sensor, the tight end, a great basketball player who shows those skills as a receiver.
He wears number 81, and he is a gifted receiver. From the 33-yard line, Dills hands off over to the left side to Ted Brown, who's playing with a special pad on a very sore shoulder tonight. And quickly the flags drop as Matt Millen, the right inside linebacker of the Oakland Raiders, was a little over-aggressive. That will cost the Raiders. Ted Brown, fine receiver, a good runner, over 900 yards a year ago and 62 receptions. Damaged his shoulder against Tampa Bay. He was questionable right up to the start of the game. A referee tonight, Gene Barth.
That was just a stupid, undisciplined, unnecessary penalty.
There's your front three, and missing a key man in the middle, being Reggie Kinlaw, being replaced by Johnny Robinson, the rookie from Louisiana Tech. It may make a major difference in Oakland's ability to stop the run. They gave up a lot of yardage to Denver a week ago. On 1st and 10, Ted Brown, left side once again, piled up quickly, sliding out there defensively. Several of the Raiders, headed, of course, by the rookie I just spoke of, Johnny Robinson, a 4th-round pick. There he is. As I said, he replaced Reggie Kinlaw, who might be, well, we don't know how badly his knee was damaged. He did undergo surgery, did Reggie Kinlaw. And Dave Fair, remember a year ago, was there. He is no longer with the ball club. So the Raiders, in their 3-4, which they don't stay in all the time anyway, a little weak in the middle. 2nd down and 8. Ted Brown reverses the field. That's an all-pro cornerback, not only in interceptions, but in open field tackling Lester Hayes. Right at the line of scrimmage, and he took on Ted Brown one-on-one.
Well, there's the implacable one. The only man he'll bend to is our colleague, Francis Tarkenton. In fact, Francis, somebody asked him if he'd talked to Francis 2 minutes before game time. He said, not even for Francis.
Mike Davis is down for the Oakland Raiders. Mike Davis, who turned into an absolutely superb, strong safety a year ago, being treated now. Looks as though they are investigating some sort of injury to the ankle.
Most underrated coach, quite possibly, because he works in the shadow of Al Davis, is that man, Tom Flores. A brilliant story in his own right, fighting back from consumption, tuberculosis.
He used to quarterback these Raiders, a receiver coach since 1972, and filled the big shoes of John Madden when he took over 3 years ago. But the concern right now is for Mike Davis, a major part of that Oakland Raider legend of a year ago.
Doesn't look good, does it?
No, it doesn't.
There he is, of course, the key play perhaps of the Oakland Raiders season, their drive for the Super Bowl, the interception late in the game against Cleveland that provided an Oakland 14-12 win. We'll get a further report as quickly as we can on the condition of Mike Davis.
Giff, it's interesting that the Vikings have tried to run the ball each down so far. They have not been known as a running team. They are predominantly a pass team. Last week they passed the ball 63 times against Tampa Bay, but only got 1 touchdown. They feel they can run a little bit of Oakland tonight. So far they haven't.
We have the 3 wide receivers in there now. Sammy White, Terry LeCount, Ahmad Rashad. Single setback, so we still have Joe Simpson, the tight end, on 3rd down and 7. A lot of time for Dills, and yet he could not find the receiver, and he finally was hammered there, and guess who? Ted Hendricks. And that will bring up 4th down.
Interesting that Fran mentioned the 63 passes Dills threw last week. The last one was perfectly thrown to a Tampa Bay defender for the touchdown that gave them the game.
Yeah, but you know, Howard, it was the only interception he had the entire night. Inopportune
But he
time.
was in field goal position. A very bad call.
He didn't make that call. They send that in. I don't think it was a bad call, though. Their kicker doesn't have a lot of range.
You had a quick glimpse of Ira Matthews, a dangerous return man for the Raiders. And, of course, Greg Coleman is the punter for the Minnesota Vikings. Coleman looking for the left corner. Matthews would like to field it. Coleman gets a good bounce. Out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Fine punt by Greg Coleman. So the Oakland Raiders will begin at their own 15-yard line as Jim Plunkett talks things over on the sidelines. Their touchdown passes came last year when Jim Plunkett took over from an injured Dan Pastorini after the 4th game against Kansas City. And from then on, it was the Cinderella story that you have read and heard so much about. Plunkett looks over the 3-4 defense of the Vikings, 1st and 10 at his own 15-yard line. And Plunkett misses the handoff to Van Egan, and down he goes. And there will be a loss of a yard and a half. Defensively, Doug Martin was there, and Mike Davis is now being assisted from the field, and again, we'll get a report as quickly as we can.
Now, that is a very serious matter for the future of the Raiders if they're to defend their championship.
Second down and 11. Again, wide receivers, Morris, Bradshaw, 81 in there because Bob Chandler damaged his spleen against Denver, underwent surgery, and still says he'll be back for the season. Cliff Branch, the other wide receiver, with a lot of speed. Flag is down. Plunkett fights away from Minnesota Viking pursuers, dumps it off incomplete in the general direction of Kenny King, but again, a flag is down. Holding, and the Raiders will be detected holding, and they may not take this because it'll just be half the distance to the goal. And the down would remain the same as we look at Gene Barth and company. Not a bad business to be a president of an oil company. Money doesn't buy his own franchise.
Holding, 63 offense, refused, third down.
Upshaw holding on the left side.
Even though refused, it represents 2 major penalties against Oakland with less than 4 minutes played. Not a happy augury as you look at Tom Flores, who knows it very well.
Third down, a little more than 10 for the Oakland Raiders. Cliff Branch split to the left. Bradshaw up there at the top of your screen has the speed but not the moves of Chandler. No flags are down. You detected movement, I'm sure, however. Still, there are no flags, so it'll be fourth down. And if you're going to have somebody punting from the goal line, it may as well be Ray Guy, and he moves onto the field, plunk it off.
Interesting thing, the Vikings went with just a 3-man rush, 8 men dropped back, and they still got pressure, Howard, with just a 3-man rush against 5 blockers.
Not only that, a mix-up between the intended receiver, Cliff Branch, and Plunkett. Branch stopping dead on a spot, in effect button hooking, and Plunkett throwing downfield. He had expected Branch to keep running in a different route.
There is Eddie Payton. He is 55 yards from the line of scrimmage. That's the respect he has for this man, Ray Guy. Guy bangs one that will go out of bounds at the 40-yard line, and a flag is down again at the line of scrimmage.
And you're going to have a holding call on Oakland again.
This one I would assume they will take because then Guy will be kicking from the end zone and Eddie Payton will have an opportunity for the run back. Tom Flores, interesting. It was, what, the 4th Super Bowl? He was a backup quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs when they stunned everyone with their win in New Orleans, and he has a Super Bowl ring from Kansas City. Also played at Buffalo.
3 major penalties still within the first 4 minutes.
Holding, 84 offense, still fourth down.
Derek Ramsey holding, and now Eddie Payton still respecting Ray Guy, who will kick from his end zone. There he is on his own 40-yard line. So Ray Guy deep in his own end zone, and the Vikings have been noted over the years for blocking punts, but Ray Guy does not have punts blocked very often.
And they're coming after it.
Guy, another booming, towering kick that again will go out of bounds, and I'll tell you, that is awfully good accuracy. If that should slice just a little bit, he would lose a lot of yardage, and he gets a lot out of the punt from the end zone, does Ray Guy. But that's nothing new with this man. He's been the best around for many, many years. We'll be back. Number 23, that's Otis McKinney, who has stepped into the shoes of Mike Davis, whom we told you a moment ago has a damaged ankle that's being x-rayed at the moment. And meanwhile, Ray Guy and FRAN, twice in a row, he kicked from deep in his own territory, angling for the sidelines, and it was deliberate.
It was. I've never seen that. 44 yards on that kick against the wind, and then out of bounds with no return. Fabulous.
And the one he lost on the penalty, 45 yards out of bounds, no return. First down and 10. The ball at the 47-yard line of the Vikings. Sensor in motion with the handoff. Ted Brown, left side. Brown stepping out of bounds smartly up around midfield, and another flag goes down.
And that's against Oakland, Giff.
Again, Millen, I believe.
Well, you can't do this and expect to win.
There was a gain of about 5 yards. We'll watch again. Second-year man out of Penn State. Where's 55? Look for yourself.
You won't see it here, but Ricky Young, number 34, just leveled a linebacker. Got Ted Brown down the field, and you'll see the Millen here hitting him 5 yards out of bounds.
Utterly absurd. 4 major penalties. They have played 4 minutes and
Personal
10
foul,
seconds.
unnecessary roughness, 55 defense, first down.
following the penalty. The Minnesota Vikings will be at the 33-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. We're in the first quarter from Bloomington, 10 minutes and 50 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Both teams lost their opening games, and we have no score thus far. Sensor split wide to the right, the big tight end with all the agility. And Dills will put it in the air on first down. Sensor is the intended receiver. Otis McKinney was around it, and also Matt Millen. Incomplete.
Unusual for Ahmad Rashad. He usually draws double coverage. Oakland plays mainly man-to-man defense. They're going to try to cover him with Lester Hayes and Dwayne Osteen man-to-man. Here it goes again. Dill's back in the pocket. Got his man. Pretty good throw, but good defensive play by McKinney.
McKinney really starred, Frank. He was once a second-round Giant draft choice.
Yes, he was.
Didn't materialize for the Giants. He really starred during the playoffs last year.
Second down and 10. That's Sammy White, another speedy receiver in motion. Ted Brown, draw play. Met there and quickly by number 53, Rod Martin. He of the 3 interceptions in the Super Bowl. And let's talk about that, Fran. You know it's not too bright to cover Ahmad Rashad singly.
Well, it really isn't. As you look at a picture of Rod Martin there, it's a great matchup, a classic matchup. It's Lester Hayes, maybe the finest cornerback in the game, against Ahmad Rashad, who may be the finest split outside receiver in the game. And they're going nose to nose, man to man. It's just like a championship fight out there. They haven't tested Hayes yet with Rashad, but they will.
Third down, 14. 4-yard loss. Ball at the 37-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. Dills in the shotgun. Dills overthrows Sammy White. Sammy White covered nicely by Burgess Owens, and another flag is down.
Owens was all over him on that play. No question about it.
Holding, and this time against Minnesota.
Well, here's a decision for you. As I mentioned, Rick Danmar does not have a big leg. I don't think he can make it from there if they had to go to fourth down and kick a field goal. That would be about a 52-yard field goal, which is really beyond his range.
78 offense, refused, fourth down.
You're exactly right. That was the decision.
See who they bring out. Well, I suppose Bud Grant agrees with you, Fran, as they bring out Greg Coleman, the punter.
And he's a good corner kicker. He's got good accuracy kicking the ball out inside the 15, 10-yard line.
Ira Matthews at the 10-yard line, but he'll try and guess with Coleman as to which corner Coleman will try and angle the ball to. Coleman, right. Hooded kicker, angles to the right, catches the end zone. That'll bring it out to the 20. And there is a net gain of 18 yards. Bud Grant cannot be too happy thus far in this young season. We'll be back. We're in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Oakland Raiders, following the touchback, will have a first and 10 at their own 20-yard line. We have no score. Vikings in a strange defensive alignment, at least for me. They had a 3-4. That's new for them. Kenny King, right side, piled up there. Doug Martin, Mark Mullaney, both out there defensively for Minnesota.
It shows the change in the game, Giff. You remember the old purple gang of Page and Eller and Marshall and Larson that dominated teams. Defensive lines don't dominate teams anymore in this league. The linebackers and defensive backs do. The Vikings have gone to the 3-man line with 4 active linebackers because they couldn't defend the run. Now tonight, so far, they've defended the run very nicely.
More to it than that. You use what your strengths are. In the case of Minnesota, the careful drafts of the 70s produced their greatest strength in linebacker.
Loss of 2. It'll be second down and 12. Ball at the 18-yard line of the Raiders. Kenny King, left side, big opening. Has a blocker in front. Down the sidelines, and he gets the first down with a nifty run out close to the 38-yard line. Kenny King, who came for a relatively cheap 2 7th-round draft picks and Jack Tatum a year ago, has made a difference for this ball club.
Well, here's an end zone replay. As I was just saying, the 3-man line is tough against the run, but here they go left behind Shaw and Shell, which they have done for about 1,000 years. And they get a big hole, and there's Branch trying to get down in front of Willie Teal, the rookie cornerback. There's a picture of King. What an addition to this team he made a year ago.
They go to the right side, lose 2. They come to the left and pick up yardage for the first down. On first down, Plunkett back. A lot of time, no receiver. Now he finds Chester. Chester up into there. Nice tackle. Coming up quickly. Number 25, Kurt Knopf.
Now remember, Minnesota plays a deep zone. They're laying back against Plunkett's greatest threat, the deep pass. But again, it is the Davis theory. You go with your strengths. He's got speed receivers, particularly Branch. And in the long run, he feels that Plunkett will be able to crack that zone.
Well, he's going against a rookie cornerback on one side and a cornerback on the other side that was cut by the Detroit Lions 2 weeks ago. So he's got some vulnerability back there.
Second down and 7 from the 40-yard line. Plunkett. Chester is there, but does not hold on and is picked off. Willie Teal, the interception, and he is relatively, well, you could call him a rookie too, Fran. He comes up with a key interception on a pass that should have been caught by Chester.
It's a lot of luck in this game, Francis.
That was one of them. Although it was a bad place to throw, he threw the ball to Chester. Chester had a chance to catch it, but he was going to be hit immediately. The ball is looping downfield, which he had to do. A very difficult catch.
You're kidding.
Good concentration, however, because there was a lot of traffic and a lot of smoke blowing around there.
I'm telling you it was.
Teal, second-round draft pick a year ago, injured reserve all year with the knee. Big play for Minnesota, 1st and 10. Ball inside their own 45-yard line. Ted Brown almost breaks one off, but quickly Otis McKinney was there for the stop. Well, we've been traveling around the country a little bit. We opened last week in Cleveland. Where were we? I think in Miami on Thursday, Bloomington, and we are going to see the Buffalo Bills for the first time for our ABC crew at 8:30 at a special time on the special Thursday night edition coming your way against the Philadelphia Eagles.
What a pair of coaches. Chuck Knox, Dick Vermeil.
Not bad quarterbacks, Ferguson, Jaworski. There was a gain of 4, second down and 6. Dills. Open Sammy White. First down inside the 30-yard line of the Oakland Raiders.
Some people forgot about Sammy White except the Vikings. He may not be quite as good as Rashad. I thought he was right up there with Rashad when I played with him. Here's an end zone replay. He's going against Osteen. Again, it's man-on-man coverage. That's also the Vikings trick. The two outside receivers. Sammy White beats his man easily. Dills gets the ball in there.
Threw the ball nice and sharply also, Fran.
Yes, he did.
Lester Hayes and Burgess Owens, Frank.
So the Vikings, they have been in Minnesota territory throughout the first quarter with 6 minutes remaining. Dills sees the man open and tries to hurry the pass, and Sensor could not get back for the completion.
Correction, it was Dwayne Osteen and Burgess Owens.
Yes.
There's
Don't
kind
go
of
near Hayes.
Kind of a youthful movement on this man's part there, Fran. He had time to set up and get that ball there.
Well, he's only played, this is, I think, his 3rd regular season game in his 3 years he's been here. He had the man open way down the field. He didn't take his time to get the ball in there. Got to be kind of anxious playing your 3rd game against the world champions.
Again, Steve Dills playing for an injured Tommy Kramer. Started last week against Tampa Bay. The other game he played was against Washington, a winning effort a year ago. 2nd and 10.
Oh, what a hit.
Otis McKinney on a safety blitz. Ball jarred loose from Dills. I don't think he even saw McKinney. And Oakland comes up with the football. Dave Browning.
Well, that was a tough hit, my friends. I want to see the replay here. They're not allowed to hit the quarterback in the head under any circumstance. Let's see where he puts his forearm. I don't know whether he got it low enough or hit him in the head. It's in the head. That is a penalty.
He went up the chest and caught him in the head.
No matter how he gets there, that is a penalty to try to protect the quarterback. He could have put him out very seriously. It was a good play except for the hit.
Otis McKinney, who has replaced an injured Mike Davis, forces the turnover, and Oakland will have the ball 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line. Frank Gifford along with Howard Cosell, Fran Tarkenton. Fran watching his old teammates, the Minnesota Vikings, who have just coughed up the football, blitzed by McKinney, jars a loot, and Steve Dills. The Raiders have a 1st and 10, their own 34-yard line. Bradshaw split right. Plunkett connects with Kenny King, and Kenny King turns upfield looking for first down markers. Gets to the 42, a couple of yards short. Scott Studwell made the stop.
That's Tommy Kramer, who's got strained ligaments in the knee. Talked to him today. He's hopeful he'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks, but he can't even be sure of that. crackerjack young quarterback, cut kind of in the Tarkenton mold.
He has played very well here the past 2 years. At the end of last year, he played about as good as anybody in the league.
Second down. We'll call it 3 as the ball marked just over the 41-yard line. Kenny King, right side. Good defensive effort. Left side, headed there by James White and Mullaney. Maybe a pickup of a half a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
Giff, the Raiders have given the Vikings every chance in the world to take the lead in this game, and the Vikings have not taken advantage of those opportunities.
Well, we saw key Viking weakness in that regard. They do not have a long-range field goal kicker. Another key element, the depth of the Raiders. Mike Davis gets hurt. McKinney comes in and becomes a compelling factor.
Single setback. Van Egan. Plunkett, 3rd and 2. Throws a short one over the middle of Van Egan. There is a flag down that usually
holding.
Comes down before the holding call. Van Egan picking up the first down yardage inside the 45 of Minnesota.
As we wait for the call, it's interesting that Oakland likes to throw the ball. Let's listen to the call.
Against Minnesota.
My goodness.
Well, now wait a minute.
I thought those guys were up here in the booth with me, but evidently they're out there. Howard, Frank, come back.
I'll call Dr. Tom Reese immediately.
That was talking to
the major
middle.
The point I was making, Howard, is that Oakland does like to move the ball down the field. Here's the call.
To the hands, 79 defense, a push to the face, penalty refused, 1st down.
Doug Martin, penalty refused, 1st down on the completion to the 45-yard line. Mark Van Egan.
But being the great team that Oakland is, they adapt. They're going against a deep drop zone. They're dropping the ball off to the backs, which is exactly what they should be doing to bring that zone up tight.
Exactly right,
Derek Jensen replaces Van Egan. King with a little screen in front. Raymond Chester sliding out to provide the block. And King.
Well, the big
yardage inside the 42-yard line.
Excuse me, Giff. While the big yardage didn't materialize on that play, Fran, a clever call.
A very clever call. You know, they got a positive play out of it. Oakland didn't win the Super Bowl and hadn't been the team of excellence for all these years because they were dumb. Dumb they are not.
The only wild card team ever to win the Super Bowl.
Bradshaw goes to the right. Out to the left is Cliff Branch. There was a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. King on the draw play. Big opening. Watch out. Has a blocker in front. And King just rolling down close to the 20-yard line, taking Tommy Hannon with him. And Willie Teal.
Interestingly, he ran right behind Henry Lawrence and Mickey Marvin.
He did. He read his blockers well. He got good blocking there.
Good block by Derek Jensen.
Had a good block. And look at the receiver trying to block down there. He did all right. It's hard to block downfield. He kept his feet trying to keep in front of the defensive back. He didn't get him out of the way. But Kenny King, again, gets big yards.
Midnight for football. Temperature 65 degrees. Nevertheless, Kenny King gets a breather. 1st and 10, Oakland. 21-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Plunkett quickly to Branch. And Branch with the quick feet down to the 10-yard line.
That is a tough situation. You got Cliff Branch, a perennial all-pro receiver, against a rookie cornerback, Willie Teal. He was here a year ago. As you watch Cliff Branch, look at his numbers, but he's on injured reserve. Watch how far off Willie Teal is. He's a good 7-8 yards off, and Branch gets the play.
That's the kind of play that I'm sure Cliff Branch came back to the bench, said, look, this guy's playing 11, 12 yards off me. Let me do a little quick hitch on him.
Again, it's not what Oakland wants to do, but they're taking what the Vikings give them. And they're doing this against a very strong wind. 2nd quarter, they'll have the wind at their back.
1st down, goal to go.
Safety blitz.
Martin Whittington, right side. Down close to the 6-yard line. Mark Mullaney sliding out there defensively to make the stop.
That's the great man, number 83, Ted Hendricks. I'll tell you, Teddy, you're going to have competition. What Arnsparger is doing with A.J. Dewey is trying to make another Ted Hendricks out of him, and he's well on his way to doing it.
Man started 176 consecutive games going back to 1969 with Baltimore.
And Fran said he'd never make it.
Not true.
Second down, goal to go. The ball at the 6-yard line. Van Egan back in, number 30 with Whittington, 22. Whittington. Inside the 5, just barely. Good defensive effort there by the middle of the defensive line, and safety man Tommy Hannon helping out Scott Studwell.
The play didn't pan out for a score, but at that position on the 7-yard line, someone may question why a draw play. It's a great place for a draw play. You're trying to get a quick rush in the defensive line. If you pop the seam, you've got 6 points. They got a positive play. They'll have to throw this time.
Fran, you were there when they drafted Scott Studwell on the 11th round, and boy, did he turn out well.
Well, he beat out Seam at the middle linebacker spot. Now they go to the 3-4. Both of them play.
Third and goal. Bradshaw and Branch split to the left. Chester up on the right, top of your screen. Long count, hoping to draw them off. Flag goes down. It's up in the end zone, incomplete. Tommy Hannon over there helping out Willie Teal against Cliff Branch.
I think that Plunkett drew them off.
I think you're right, Howard. I think Duck White jumped off sides.
Offside, Minnesota. You're not supposed to do it, but every now and then give them a long count, give them a little extra hut instead of your ordinary hut, and off they come.
It's tough to give a team the quality of Oakland a second chance down there inside the 5.
72 defense, offside, half the distance, still third down.
Jim White, they call him Duck White, offside, third down, goal to go, the penalty half the distance to the goal.
All right, Oakland's come in with their goal line type offense. The Vikings are adjusting their goal line type defense. 3 tight ends for the Raiders. They're in a situation where they can run, but it's a long way to run down there. I think pass again, Giff.
And if we pass, we'll probably see play action.
That's right.
That much time remaining in the first quarter. There is no score. The toss is to Kenny King. Sprinting to the sidelines. He will not get there. Fine defensive effort. Willie Teal, who was victimized a short while ago by Cliff Branch.
Beautiful tackle.
It was. It's hard to run from 3 yards out down there. It's difficult. Here's an end zone. He's going to pitch out. You've got 11 men up on the line of scrimmage. Not much place to go. And Teal really played off the blocker. What a play by Willie Teal.
That's the point,
Yep.
Fran. He played off that block. Great play.
There he is. We told you, a second-round draft pick a year ago. Missed the season because of an knee injury. Bobby Bryant is retired after 13 years, and Willie Teal has that starting job to earn. Chris Barr with Ray Guy holding. 21-yard attempt. First score of the night. With less than 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter, Minnesota having blown several opportunities. Finally the sack on their quarterback Steve Dills, and Oakland took it in. We'll be back. The chant is Eddie, Eddie, meaning Eddie Payton. Howard told you a moment ago in 77, he went 98 yards against this team in Detroit for the kickoff return. He went 87 yards on a punt return, both touchdowns, so Bud Grant said, I better get him. He's available, and here he comes. That is Eddie, saved by Chris Barr, the man who kicked it off. And Eddie gets it out over the 35 to the 31-yard line.
At each end of the field, he's got his coterie of bleacher bugs who just adore him, and thus that chant, Eddie.
Here he comes. It's a low kick, and watch Eddie Payton do a good kick return. He gets up the field in a hurry. He's got good blocking. The Vikings work long and hard on their kickoff return, as everybody does. And he's an inspired little player. I understand he's got a brother that plays in the National Football League.
Yes, he's got a brother. Sweetness, they called him.
Oh, yeah.
First and 10, the Vikings. They had marked it at the 37-yard line. The Vikings down by 3. This is Ted Brown again. Out over the 40-yard line. Gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7. Hit there by Johnny Robinson, the rookie middle nose guard for the Oakland Raiders.
The real problem for the Vikes, well, they have a number of problems, but the absence of a running game is killing them. You know that, Fran?
The Vikes have not had a running game here for the past 5 years. I don't understand why, but we haven't had one here when I was here either.
You know what they were last year? Next to last in the National Football League. Only one team was worse in rushing than the Vikings, yet they won that Central Division. Second and 7. Bills. They won't waste time running too often. This one's hung up for grabs, and there's going to be an interference call downfield. It could be either Osteen or Rashad because they were both fighting to get back to the ball.
Well, this will be a bonus for the Vikings if they get an interference.
It really will.
And I think they're going to get it.
Defensive pass interference, number 35, first down.
Dwayne Osteen against Rashad.
He had great coverage, but watch, Ahmad's a field player. He knows where he is on the field. Watch Ahmad get back into the underthrown ball. I'm not sure who pushed who, really. I love Ahmad, but he might have pushed as much as Osteen.
Well, again, stupid penalty. 5 major penalties against Oakland here in the first quarter.
I think that call working against Osteen was that Osteen was playing Rashad while Rashad was playing the ball. First and 10, inside the 40 of the Oakland Raiders. Dills again, feeling the pressure of Ted Hendricks. And he goes down in the arms of Dave Browning.
Hendricks didn't make that tackle, but Frank called it exactly right. Hendricks was the one who put the pressure on and caused the tackle.
Here's the end zone replay. You'll watch Hendricks come in here. The trouble with Hendricks, not that he gets so many sacks, but he's so big. He gets penetration. He gets up in your face. He makes you move up, and somebody else gets the sack. Hendricks caused the sack there. That Matuzik and Browning get credit for.
You've got to set your play trying to look at where Hendricks is coming from because he comes from anywhere and everywhere.
Second down, a little more than 15 to go.
He's got Rashad against Osteen again.
He's had the screen call to Ricky Young. There's a blocker in front, and Ricky Young tacks on some yardage. Heading down inside the 35 to about the 33-yard line. Ted Hendricks again with Randy McClanahan on the stop.
Well, they got Young in the trade for White. They got him when Francis was still there. Francis quickly discovered that he was superb coming out of the backfield on the pass.
Final seconds of the first quarter ticking off. Minnesota Vikings short on their first down attempt. They will have a third down and 3. The ball will be...
Lester Hayes without the sticker. The NFL's top defensive back, and there is why.
And our graphic without the 5 playoff interceptions. He had a total of 18 a year ago. Third down and 3. Minnesota, in all probability, will pass. They do not. They give the ball to Ted Brown, and they're short of the first down.
Well, I'll tell you why they did that, Giff. In that situation, Bud Grant will look at the thing as a 2-down situation. He would have got, if he'd have gotten close, he'd have run again on 4th down. I think he'll still go on 4th down and try to pick up the first down.
Because of the basic weakness, no field goal kicker. The greatest Minnesota strength thus far was in containing Oakland to a field goal. Oakland couldn't get in for the TD. That may penalize Oakland later in the game.
A field goal attempt would be some 48 yards. Apparently, Grant not having the confidence in Rick Danmeyer to kick it that far. So on 4th down, the Minnesota Vikings will go with it.
And he will throw.
Sensor in motion.
Hendricks again.
For the end zone, Sammy White overthrown. And the Oakland Raiders defensive team will give their offensive teammates good field position.
He didn't have a lot of room, but I thought Sammy White had a step or 2 on Lester Hayes.
He did, but Dills was feeling the breath of Hendricks.
Again.
The Oakland Raiders leading 3-0. They got a field goal out of Chris Barr from 21 yards out.
Uncharacteristic, though, of Minnesota to go deep on 4th and 3 when you've got to have a first down. As well as they throw the ball to the backs, you would certainly think they would have tried to gotten one to the backs then. They didn't.
Jim Blackett, Cinderella boy from a year ago, looks it over. Puts both backs in the pattern. Van Egan picks up. Cliff Branch is open, and I do not believe that he had possession of the ball. No,
he did not.
And finally, with a late indication, incomplete.
Well, they went back to their deep passing game, Howard, and what happens there, you've got linebackers back so deep that they squeeze the receiver. Very difficult catch.
There's one of the best, number 59, Matt Blair.
Well, watch here, and you'll watch the linebackers getting 15, 20 yards deep. They try to squeeze the ball in. He throws it well, but he cannot hold on because McNeil, 54, is crunching him. Here's the reverse angle. You'll see it again from another spot.
This is our camera across
again.
the field.
He's got the ball.
Should have caught it.
Could have made the catch, but it's a lot of traffic in there, and that ain't easy.
Fred McNeil all over.
Second down. Kenny King left side. Kenny King turns the corner, eluding the pursuit of James White, and gets out to the 39-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 2. NCAA football coming your way this Saturday, live at 1:30 Eastern, 12:30 Central, 10:30 Pacific. Number 1 ranked Notre Dame takes on the 11th ranked Michigan. Michigan, of course, upset this past week in that game at Ann Arbor, Michigan, where you can't hear yourself think. College football on Saturday over most of these ABC stations. By the way, these rankings from the Associated Press. Johnny Faust getting his season off in a winning way.
He's a high-step guy, Giff.
Took his entire high school with him. Kenny King, left side, down he goes. Fred McNeil is there defensively, and a flag is down.
Some play by 54, Fred McNeil. Played very well here during his career. First-round draft choice out of UCLA.
Oakland Raiders backing off.
Holding, 78 offense, penalty refused.
Shell on the left side, holding. Interesting note, this offensive line of the Raiders, if you include Raymond Chester, has 63 years of experience.
About 50 of it between Shell and Upshaw.
Shell in his 13th year, Upshaw in his 15th. Upshaw, by the way, started his 204th consecutive game tonight, going back all the way to 67.
Ray Guy's got the wind in his back, Giff. He may kick it out of the stadium here. They're going to try to block it.
And Guy had to hurry. It came off the foot. I don't know whether anyone got a hand on it or not. He still gets a little roll inside the 35.
You might remember some years ago, the Vikings played the Raiders in the Super Bowl, and Ray Guy had never had a punt blocked in his career, and Fred McNeil blocked that punt on him. Here again, they almost blocked it, caused the bad kick.
Teal was also in there.
Here they come. Well, he kicked it under him. It was a pretty good kick by a guy who wanted to kick it under him.
It was not blocked, but it was certainly different.
He got a break on the roll, too.
30 yards on a punt that Ray Guy slipped under the arms of Teal. Minnesota, 1st and 10, their own 35. Line, the word is a Mike Davis, fractured fibula of the right leg. Considering the different things that could have happened, that cannot be all too bad. Dills, wide open is White, and Hook slides and drops the football.
The offensive coach of the Vikings is Jerry Burns. We'll get back to that in a minute. Let's watch Ray Guy. You'll see the versatility of Ray Guy and how good he really is. They were going to block the kick. Rather than give up the block, he saw the man. He kicked it low and got it under his arms. I think he's that good. Somebody else may think he's not.
That's very good, yes.
That's amazing what he did.
Well, he is amazing.
Tell you, Oakland looks like they're sitting on their Super Bowl laurels. As a team, they look terribly sluggish. They failed to get it in when they had the shot.
Terry LeCount is in, number 80. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Again, the ball at Minnesota's 35-yard line. They trail 3-0. Dills tries to squeeze the ball in front of Lester Hayes to Sammy White. It'll be 3rd down and 10. We're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our stations identify themselves.
KNTV 11 San Jose.
I think I agree with you, Fran. I think Ray Guy saw Teal coming in, didn't want to get a block, kicked it underneath. Again, if you just joined us, Minnesota had many opportunities in the first quarter. They could not capitalize. The Oakland Raiders forced a turnover with a blitz of Otis McKinney against Steve Dills, and then took it in, covering half the distance of the field. Shotgun, settling for 3, and they lead 3-0. 3rd and 10. Dills, Stark, getting away, this time from Hendricks, and going to Sensor. Sensor will get the first down on a good effort by the big tight end.
And a good effort by the young quarterback to get away from the Stork.
That's exactly right, in my opinion. The Stork was there again, all over the kid. He kept his poise. He found the athletic type receiver, Sensor, who so much resembles Dave Logan in terms of basketball background.
There's Dills. He gets it off the censor, and he was glad to see Joe Censor there. As I was going to make the point a minute ago, Jerry Burns tried, the offensive coordinator of the Vikings, who calls the plays, tried to use the run tonight. We're not going to see much more running out of the Vikings. They're going to line up and throw the football.
1st and 10, 47-yard line of the Vikings. Dills back, man open. Sammy White, he does not hang on once again. Defensively, Burgess Owens. I'd like to qualify what I said about Mike Davis. I'm really not going to qualify it. I said, considering what it could have been in the injury, we've been told it's a fractured fibula. And Fran and I both speak from authority.
Yes,
we both have had fractured fibulas. Depending upon where the break was, it could mean 2, 3, 4 weeks, up to 5 or 6 weeks.
All right, here's the reverse angle. The kid, Dills, throws a strike to Sammy White. Sammy White doesn't drop many balls, but he did that time, but then he gets a very good shot.
Burgess Owens. 2nd down and 10. Ahmad Rashad foot left. Flag goes as Ted Brown tries the middle. And it will be a procedure call.
Ball start, 73 offense.
Ron Yeri, the longtime veteran at right tackle for the Vikings, with a false start.
And they get no choice there. He blew the whistle before the play started. They'll have to take the 5-yard mark off. Interesting that last time, Howard, the young man Dills had protection. He threw a strike.
No ground game at all.
No ground game at all, but any quarterback has got to have protection in order to throw the football. Actually, both defensive lines have put good pressure on Plunkett and Dills, and neither one have thrown well tonight. If you give them protection, both of them will throw well.
Ricky Young in there, number 34, along with Dills. Ricky Young, fine receiver, and Dills puts him out of the backfield. And Dills again forced to hurry his pass. He again had tremendous pressure. Rod Martin was coming, and Dills had to unload it before he wanted to. It'll be 3rd down and 15.
Interestingly, Giff in there on the coverage, Monty Jackson, once considered perhaps as good a cornerback as there was in the league.
Not only was he considered that, Howard, he was, but he hasn't been that for the Raiders.
Raiders gave up a 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd to get Jackson in 78 after he had 2 All-Pro years with the Rams. He has not played that way since he came to the Raiders.
Widely criticized deal, if you'll remember.
3rd and 15. 10 Raiders on the line of scrimmage. Dills drops the ball. Here comes Hendricks. Censor. And Censor back to the line of scrimmage. Rod Martin and Monty Jackson defensively there for Oakland. It'll be 4th down.
A few weeks ago, Giff, you asked me the question, do I like the shotgun? I said no. That is one reason why I do not like the shotgun. The snap never comes the same place all the time. You get fumbles. You get ball snapped over your head. You get ball snapped on the ground. I don't like it. I'm in the minority, but I still don't like it.
But you notice how every time the viewers are saying 83 Ted Hendricks.
Coleman will punt. You had a glimpse of Ira Matthews at the 15-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. Beautiful punt by Coleman. High, a lot of hang time, and the Vikings are downfield. Here comes Matthews with a good return out to the 30-yard line on a 46-yard punt. So Ira Matthews, who could have been nailed as far back as the 15-yard line, works it out to the 30, and the Oakland Raiders will be in good field position, leading by 3. 4 remaining in the first half from Bloomington, Minnesota. The Oakland Raiders out over the Minnesota Vikings, 3-0. The Raiders 1st and 10. The ball inside their own 30. Once again, we'd like to reassure the parents of Mike Davis, not a serious injury, even though it sounds maybe worse than it is, a broken fibula, that he should be all right with no major problems. Up to the 35-yard line goes Mark Van Eegen, and Howard, you just mentioned in the commercial, you wondered why he had not been carrying the football tonight.
Couldn't understand it. Those quick poppers up the middle, he's not the greatest running fullback in the world, but he still has a functionality, and it's in that kind of play as well as coming out in the backfield where he's a good receiver.
Van Eegen is a football player. It'll be interesting to see if Oakland will go back to their short passing game. The only thing they've had success with tonight is the short passing game.
2nd down and 5 following the 5-yard pickup by Van Eegen. Plunkett throws the ball before Branch made his cut. Covered there, and not badly, by Willie Teal.
There again, the defensive pass rush of the Vikings forced Plunkett to throw the ball much sooner than he wanted to. If he'd have had the protection, he'd have had Branch for a long gainer. He didn't.
But he did go to the long ball.
He did go with the long ball and not a completion.
3rd down and 5, and as we see all over the league now, the specialty units coming onto the field. Minnesota anticipating pass. They bring in their 5th or 6th back. As we look down, it is 6 backs that are now in there defensively.
6 backs and 1 linebacker, 1 Matt Blair. That's not a bad one to have in there.
He's like a defensive back. 3rd and 5. The Raiders from the 35-yard line, leading by 3. Puckett again anticipating the move, only this time it's Bradshaw incomplete.
And he had Bradshaw wide open.
And pressure from Mark Mullaney for Minnesota.
Again, the pressure caused the errant throw. Most people can throw when they have good protection. I remember Pluck in the Super Bowl last year. He got protection. He completed passes. Jaworski didn't get protection, and he didn't complete passes. That's simple.
Eddie Payton drops back to his 10, and the offensive machine, Ray Guy, along with Dave Jennings of the Giants, they have to be almost in a class of their own in terms of punting. And they're both fine athletes. Guy, this time it does not turn over and does not necessarily take a Raider bounce, and is killed at the 31-yard line. Hustling down there was Derek Jensen. 34-yard punt.
He had plenty of time, an unusually poor punt for Ray Guy.
Capacity crowd as we begin the final home season for the Minnesota Vikings in Metropolitan Stadium, where we'll return in a moment. Not one of your cosmetic beauties is the matchup thus far tonight between the Minnesota Vikings and the Oakland Raiders, but there is some heavy and hard hitting as both teams trying to win their first game of the season. They both drop their openers. Minnesota, 1st and 10 from their own 31-yard line. Ted Brown left side, and he's taken out of the pile by Randy McClanahan.
Well,
it'll be 2nd down and 10.
They're a pair of teams to be closely watched. Chuck Knox gaining every day in admiration and respect, and Dick Vermeil, of course, already acknowledged as a great coach in his young time. It's an 8:30 start. Take note of that, a game we really look forward to.
You know, you hear a lot about Ferguson and Cribbs, and of course Jerry Butler, but Buffalo in 2 games have given up 3 points. They've got some defense up there. 2nd and 10. Sammy White in motion. Dills trying to get the screen off, trying to get to Ted Brown, but the Vikings reading it beautifully. Randy McClanahan was right out there stirring the waters up in the middle of the screen. That allowed Dave Browning to pressure Dills.
There's old Mark Mullaney, better known as Fonzie to his friends on the team, was the #1 draft choice some years ago. They think he's their best pass rusher now, and he's played well tonight.
Had a difficult time of it in the preseason game against the Rams.
And his father, Ed Mullaney, sang the national anthem tonight. Some say that's in Mark's contract that his dad's got to sing the national anthem twice a year at the home games. I'm not sure that's true, but he sang it tonight.
Passing down, keep track of Ted Hendricks. He's been in the backfield all night. 3rd down and 10. And now, Steve Dills did not like his setup. Said something to Ahmad Rashad. Looked at the clock. He would never get the play off, so he calls timeout, and he slides over to visit with Bud Grant.
Baseball scores.
As we watch Dills come back on the field, I do sympathize with him. It's tough playing in this league after 3 games experience. Playing against the world champions is even more tough, and with Ted Hendricks moving around like he moves around and the variety of defenses Oakland presents you, it's difficult. That time he got to the line, he didn't know whether he had the right play called or the right blocking called, and he did the right thing. He called timeout and said, help. I've been there.
Again, Dills in there because of an injured knee to Tommy Kramer. Kramer has been moving around, still has a brace on the knee. They do not know how long he'll be out. 3rd down and 10 for the young quarterback out of Stanford. Ball just over his own 30-yard line. There was movement, but no flag. Dills. And a quick reaction defensively there. Ted Hendricks was there. And also Howard Long, a rookie 2nd-round draft pick.
Can't believe the number of times we've seen 83 in the Minnesota backfield.
Well, I saw not only 83, but he had 4 playmates back there in poor old Dills' face.
And that brings out Greg Coleman. Ira Matthews dropping for Oakland back to his own 30-yard line. There he is. has never really lived up to his punt return capabilities that he had when he was a draft pick out of Wisconsin, where he led the nation, in the sense that he's never really broken off a long one. And it takes the Greg Coleman Minnesota bounce and goes out of bounds at the 38-yard line.
Now, what do you do as we look at Matuzak when you're getting... Hello, Tuz. Yeah, we know you got it.
University of Mars, Karras once
He is something.
of Sistra.
Is that an angry look? You know, to counteract the pass rush, what you've got to do is throw quick rhythm passes. Minnesota lays off. I would think that Plunkett would go to some quick hitches, quick outs, throw to his backs, do something on a quick rhythm to nullify the pass rush that he's been getting also. See if he does it.
First and 10, 38-yard line of Oakland. Plunkett, play action, and here comes Matt Blair. Matt Blair, who is much like Ted Hendricks, he is not given the freedom that Ted Hendricks is defensively, but the record speaks for itself. He's a very special linebacker.
Well, instead of going to quick rhythm, they went to a long rhythm. That's a play pass, a very poor play pass. Nobody blocked Matt Blair. It takes longer for that play to develop. When you're getting a big pass rush, it's not the best thing to do as you look at old Matt Blair.
That's where Jim Plunkett says, I've got him.
Now you got yourself in a real hole. It's 2nd and 20. You cannot go to quick rhythm passes.
Three-man front still by the Vikings on 2nd and 20. Whittington, left side. Whittington turns the corner and accelerates out to the 40-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 8.
That was actually a very good call. Running left behind the two, Shell and Upshaw.
Well, 2nd and 20. Everybody in the house thinks you're going to pass,
Exactly.
and they use some kind of a trap action, which they did on the linebacker outside. Is not all bad, and they broke it out.
Whittington fell off a little bit from his previous 2 years. Last year with the Kenny's King coming to the Oakland Raider offense. And he still has exceptional running ability.
6 defensive backs plus Matt Blair.
4 down men. 3rd and 8. Plunkett.
My goodness.
And he apparently had things mixed up with Morris Bradshaw. He wanted a fly from Bradshaw, reading man-for-man coverage by John Swain. It's a good thing that Bradshaw didn't change it up, because Tommy Hannon came over deep.
Yeah, if he read man-to-man coverage where he was trying to throw it up, he was throwing right into the teeth of his zone. If he'd have turned it up, you're right, Giff, he'd have had an interception.
4th down again. Our punter is getting a lot of exercise tonight.
They really look just terrible for a Super Bowl team champions. Al Davis sitting upfield. Looks like he's going crazy.
Ray Guy will punt. Eddie Payton at his own 12-yard line.
They got the block on again, Giff.
The center man, Todd Christensen, the tight end. Ray Guy reads it, and he just really hammered this one. It's in the end zone for the touchback, but that was a 60-yard effort by Ray Guy. And, of course, it'll be brought out to the 20. But if we are saying a lot of nice things about Ray Guy, this man deserves it. Eddie Payton is not having many opportunities to return the punts of Ray Guy.
No, but the key thing there, he's had to punt 5 times in 1.5 quarters. That's amazing statistic.
And it'll tell you something about your offense. They're not moving the football.
Or maybe Minnesota's defense. What's you stopping?
First and 10, Minnesota at their own 20, again down by 3. The only score of the night, 21-yard effort by Chris Barr for Oakland. Play action by Dills. A lot of time, dumps it to Ricky Young. Ricky Young out close to the 28-yard line for a gain of 8. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
You've got to love Ricky Young. He comes to play every day. He's one of the maybe 5 or 6 finest blocking backs in football. He's as good a receiver out of the backfield as there is in the game today. Not a great runner, but a great team player.
That's Ricky Young. There's another guy they got from New Orleans, not worked into the system yet, who I think is the best coming out of the backfield in the game today. Galbraith.
2nd down and 2. Sensor, the tight end, has the 1st down out to the 39-yard line.
Now, Steve Dills is going to some quick rhythm passes.
Exactly.
Matt Millen made the stop, and Mike Davis has come back onto the field again. Unless you're familiar with it, you know that a broken fibula is not all that serious. And again, the length of inactivity will be determined by where the fibula is broken. If it's broken low, it'll be longer. If it's broken higher, it'll be less time. First down and 10, Minnesota. Pressure against Dills. Forget it! Burgess Owens reading that beautifully. And where did the pressure come from? Dave Browning, number 73, and Rod Martin on the blitz. Boy, did Burgess Owens time that out. Dills never saw it.
No, when you put that kind of pressure on the quarterback, it causes those kind of plays.
29-yard touchdown. Another interception by a team that intercepted more passes in the league than any other team last year.
Taking a draw, trying to get the ball out on a quick screen to Ricky Young. Just didn't see Owens.
That's what a defensive back dreams about.
Caused by the great pass rush. Great pass rush and pressure like that creates big plays for the defense.
Everything they've done tonight, Oakland, has been on defense.
And Chris Barr is setting up to make it 10-0. Through the uprights, and it is Oakland 10, Minnesota nothing. And you were so right. Otis McKinney forced the turnover that the Raiders took in to a 21-yard field goal. And now Burgess Owens has gone in from 29 yards out, picking off the youngster Steve Dills.
All right, here we go. Here's the low angle look. You see 53, Rod Martin putting the pressure on 73, Browning. You see Ricky Young here trying to wait for the reception, which never gets to him, but you see Owens go in. Yesterday, there were 3 defensive touchdowns in the National Football League. Defensive touchdowns. All 3 of those teams won. Nobody lost that made a defensive touchdown. That's a bonus.
Well, as you watch the Oakland Raiders, I think of something Jim Finks, the general manager of the Bears, told me at the Bears training camp this summer. He said Oakland has a way of fitting a team together, the right players for the right spot. And he talked about the acquisitions of Otis McKinney from the Giants and Burgess Owens from the Jets. They didn't prove out at either place, both losing teams. Here, they become big winners. They fit, and that was Jim Finks' point.
On and on. John Matuzak, Cedric Hardman, Ted Hendricks himself.
Exactly.
They found the spot for them.
And Jim Plunkett.
Chris Barr, short kick, flag is down, as the Vikings cover it at the 28-yard line. Again, a flag down. We might have an offside by Oakland. Yes, that's the indication. David Huffman was on the ball for the Vikings.
Howard, it has something to do with sound organizations and good discipline management. That's what wins the National Football League as we watch the
Number 41 on the kicking team was offside. Will re-kick with a 5-yard penalty.
The teams that win, like businesses that win, are the ones that are well constructed and well managed and well organized. And the Oakland Raiders under Al Davis have been just that.
Ted Watts was offside. Ted Watts, first-round draft pick. Compliments of the Dave Casper trade to Houston. Howard Long, who is playing tonight, a defensive tackle, a rookie from Villanova, was taken in the second round. Compliments of Dave Casper, and they will have a number 2 pick for Dave Casper coming up in 82. Let's watch this from the end zone. I like the view. You get an opportunity to see the gaps open. There's Eddie Payton. And here comes Eddie Payton. Out to the 27-yard line as Payton goes down. A flag accompanies him.
And that should push it back half the distance.
Looked like a clip.
Against the Vikings.
Howard making the point as we look at Bud Grant about good organizations. The Vikings have been just that. Bud Grant gets a lot of credit, and rightfully so, for this team. Jim Finks was the general manager that helped construct this team. He gets credit. Mike Lynn more recently gets credit. But there's a little man sitting to my right over here, one Max Winter, the president of this club, who deserves a great deal of credit.
Number 52, illegal push in the back on the run back. First down.
Dennis Johnson, the offending Viking. Interesting, too, it was Max Winters who signed Bud Grant to play basketball with the Lakers when he came out of the University of Minnesota.
He's a great, great man.
He does know where it's at.
On 1st and 10, Ted Brown.
Has anybody else carried the ball tonight but Ted Brown?
I don't think so.
I don't think anybody else has carried the ball. Jerry Klein, anybody? No. Yep, Ted Brown, the only ball carrier tonight, which tells you again the basic weakness of the Minnesota ground game.
How about that? 10 rushes, 11 yards. This team has difficulty rushing the ball, obviously, and you need to rush the ball some.
As I mentioned, they were next to last in the league a year ago. They have not improved a great deal upon it. They do have Tony Galbraith, acquired from a trade, but he apparently not ready to step into the offense. 2nd down and 9, Ricky Young. And this is the Viking offense. They run Ted Brown, throw to Ricky Young.
I hate to be redundant, Howard, but that time Ted Hendricks again loomed large in the face of Dills, made him throw the ball higher than he wanted to. He couldn't zip it into Ricky to give him room to run. He does things that are subtly effective as well as things that are not so subtly effective.
3rd down and 5, a pickup of 3 by Ricky Young. Steve Dills on the night. The key was the interception. He had one a week ago in Tampa Bay late in the game by Neil Colsey when the score was 14-13 and Minnesota was in field goal range. Colsey took it all the way for a touchdown. Oakland jumping around, trying to upset the young quarterback. Pass complete over the middle and a flag is down. The receiver, Rashad, but again, a flag is down where you usually get the holding call.
And that was your classic matchup. Rashad against Hayes. Rashad won the battle that time, but not by much. Hayes is right on him.
They'll bring it back.
He's a beautifully graceful receiver. He's a brilliant athlete. It may be in grace he compares with Swan. He's not quite as acrobatic, but the two of them are so exceptional.
I don't think there's been any better receivers. Hard to say who is the best, but Rashad has been as good as any I've ever seen. There he is. He added 2 years to my career, Howard. Maybe 3.
Jim Huff, the offending Minnesota Viking, half the distance to the goal.
How does a team like Seattle let a guy like that go?
It'll be 3rd down and 14.
I don't know.
Dills. Ted Brown. Far short of the 1st down at the 18-yard line. Hit there by Howard Long, the rookie out of Villanova.
You can go back further, Howard. How did St. Louis let him go to Buffalo, and how did Buffalo let him go to Seattle?
Buffalo let him go. I remember the juice was there, and he couldn't believe it.
You know what the Vikings gave up for Rashad to Seattle?
What?
Bench warmer Bob Lurchmer.
I had lunch with him today.
At the end of his career.
The old giant.
That's right. That was the trade.
Ira Matthews, 37-yard line. Waiting the punt of Greg Coleman. Another flag is down. Ira Matthews thought better of taking it on the run. He would have had to have kept it in full stride, and it's down at midfield. But again, a flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
Lurtzmer is really a local hero since you brought his name up. He's doing a lot of commercials. He's
penalty against Minnesota. They were in motion, but Oakland will have good field position.
He's got the local Minnesota newspaper, you know, the Vikings
Illegal
newspaper.
Motion, 54 offense, penalty refused, 1st down.
Well, you know, Frank, he came up to see you.
I had a lot of fun with him. He'd like to get into this business, and he does a series of commercials for a bank here in Minneapolis. He is a local hero. He was telling me, Fran, he walked into the stadium with you last year, and you like to walk with him because everybody wanted his autograph.
That's exactly right.
Bob Lurtzman. 1st down 10. Mark Van Egan, left side. And the workhorse of the Raiders over the past 7 years. That's an 8-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd down and 2. And, you know, I find something very interesting about Van Egan. Steady, reliable, always there, good receiver, but he has carried the ball almost 1,500 times, and his longest run from scrimmage is 34 yards. You know, that's an awful lot of knockdowns.
It is.
That remaining here in the 1st half.
From the Shenango Valley, the Red Raiders of Colgate.
2nd down 2. Van Egan stays on his feet, lunges up close to a 1st down. I believe he'll have it.
All right, Giff, the character of this Viking defensive team is going to be tested right here because they're going to have a chance in this game. They have got to keep Oakland out of scoring position before the end of this 1st half. They played pretty well the 1st half. Have not given up a touchdown. But they're going to have to show their mettle right here to stay in the game as you look at Flores.
This is the first down here in the second quarter. It's a big play. Burgess Owens interception for a 29-yard touchdown. Morris Bradshaw. Bradshaw powering close to another first down inside the 30. He's in the arms of number 44, Walt Williams, recently acquired, as Fran mentioned earlier, from Detroit.
Howard, that's not too bad a pass. You have no threat of getting sacked. You got a man 10 yards off your receiver. You get a 7 or 8 yard gain. Well, nothing wrong with that. That's not what Oakland really wants to do, but it's there.
I agree with you. And not only that, you're now virtually within field goal range with Chris Barr.
They'll be hurrying to get this play off just before the 2-minute warning. Plunkett gets it out to Raymond Chester, and Raymond Chester short of the first down, but down at the 21-yard line. Taken out of bounds there by Kurt Knopf. 2-minute warning coming up, and we'll be back with more action after this message from the National Football League. The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League and, of course, Jim Plunkett. 1:56 on the clock, and as we have already pointed out, if Minnesota is going to stay in this ball game, they need to come up with a defensive effort right here. It'll be 2nd down and 2. The ball inside the 22-yard line of the Vikings, and Plunkett trots onto the field with the play.
Well, they had a big conference over there, 2nd and 1. That's the time the coaches normally send in the plays, 2nd and 1. When you have 2nd and 30, they scuff the ground and say, call it yourself.
3 tight ends are in. That would indicate run. Christensen, Ramsey, and Chester. And play action. And a man open is Todd Christensen, 6 points. Oh, boy. Here is a young man that started his career as a running back, Todd Christensen. Oakland, as they do with so many reclamation projects, picked him up for practically nothing. Tried out with the Giants, I believe. They turned him into a tight end, and they say he has a great future there.
His end zone replay. It's a little rollout action, faking to Kenny King, and as they called him in Dallas, Todzilla runs the sideline. Tommy Hannon was just short there trying to get to him. I know Gil Brad was high on him down in Dallas, but they let him go, and he bounced around and found a home, as so many do in Oakland.
Key reception in the playoffs. Remember, against Houston, very similar play. Good press bar. It's no good.
When all else fails, Giff, the Vikings can block field goals and extra points. They've blocked more, I think, than any team in the world. Alan Page blocked 14 of them while he played here, and Matt Blair has blocked 12 while he's been here. I'm not sure who got the hand up here. Let's see. But they do this as well as anybody. There's Blair going up. You see him up high. That's Joe Sensor beside him. I think Blair got it.
It is picked up by, I believe, number 81, Joe Sensor. In any event, you're so right. They've been doing it for years. But you do not score a lot of points that way, and they are down 16-0. 1:50 remaining in the half. Bloomington, Minnesota. So many memories with the Vikings.
What's your greatest game here? What do you remember most, Fran?
I think I remember the first game here when we opened against the Chicago Bears and beat them 38-13, and nobody in the world thought we could beat the Bears on opening day of the new franchise in '61.
Number 3 draft pick came off the bench to throw 4 touchdown passes, I think. His name, Tarkenton. This will be out of bounds. They'll back it up 5 yards. And the coach at that time, Norm Van Brocklin. Norm liked your offense, didn't he, Fran?
He liked that scrambling a lot. He didn't really understand the scramble because he never was one to run very much.
Actually, I played here in 1959 against the St. Louis Cardinals. When the Cardinals were leaving Chicago, they were looking for a home. They played here. They played in Buffalo, and, of course, finally settled in St. Louis. I was very precocious.
You know, tradition.
12.
A tradition is going to be lost. You think of the Vikings, you think of the frozen tundra of Bloomington and Metropolitan Stadium and ice and snow. And I know the Rams used to hate to come here in those championship games. And now all that's going to be lost as they go inside to play. Quite frankly, I'd rather see them play outside.
63,000 capacity stadium right downtown. The Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome will open next year. Here comes Eddie Payton. Eddie Payton.
Look at him go.
Watch out. Watch out.
Could take it all the way. He will.
How about that?
We got a ball game again. Steady Eddie.
The length of the field of 100 yards, and the crowd has risen as one. Well, I guess, Howard, it must be you and I.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Watch this. Walter's brother, Eddie. There he goes. He had his back foot on the goal line. He breaks tackles, and then he just turns it on. Jeff Seaman, number 50 out in front, but doesn't do a lot of good. Gets a little bump there from Nord, and he almost put the ball up too soon.
And there you are, Aileen. Eddie said, say hello to my mother in Jackson. So Eddie just said hello himself, and that missed conversion looms very large for the Oakland Raiders. It does. Officially 99 yards. Hi, Mom. We've already said hello for you, Eddie.
That's great.
It seems that he likes Monday nights. We told you before about the 98-yard return against Bud Grant and an 87-yard punt return that very same night. Since he went on to Kansas City, they cut him. He was cut by Toronto last year. And here he is from a camera behind the end zone.
He had some blocking, but in these type of situations, runners have to do a lot of it on their own, and he did. But old Nord there, 49, gives him a little help. Barr's trying to chase a little bit. He put that, I saw Sammy White against Detroit put the ball up like that 5 yards before he got into the end zone. He got tackled by Barney and fumbled, and the Vikings lost the touchdown. Peyton almost did it too soon then. Well, it's a ball game, boys.
Yep. Out of nowhere.
Yep.
He came within 2 yards of a record held by, would you believe, Lance Rentzel?
I saw Lance Rentzel do it here.
1965 against Baltimore, 101 yards.
That's amazing. The chants from the bleacher bugs, Eddie, Eddie.
And that can spark a team just before halftime. Oakland would be well advised to come back down the field using their timeouts, of which they have 3, and try and get 3. Try and take a little steam out of a Minnesota Viking team that was really dragging their heels until Eddie Payton set sail.
That kind of play will set you on fire.
Here is another speedster, Malcolm Barnwell, the 7th-round pick from Virginia Union with great speed. And they will kick away from the speed to Ira Matthews. Matthews trying to get outside. Now he has running room. And Matthews helps the Oakland cause out over the 45 to the 46 where John Swain made the stop.
This has not been, my friends, an uninteresting game. It's got some good elements in it.
Well, we got time yet. Minute 26. Let's see what Plunkett does here.
The crowd trying to catch their breath. They had some very dull football up until now. 39-yard return there by Ira Matthews, and Oakland with 3 timeouts, 1:26 on the clock, leading 16-7, has a 1st and 10 inside their own 47. Plunkett has the time, finds the receiver over the middle, Van Egan. Vikings are indicating incomplete, and that's affirmed. Mullaney once again pressuring Plunkett.
And the official had a great view of it. He was in terrific position to call it. I'm sure it must have hit the ground first.
It was a pickup. Good pickup, but a pickup.
Again, pressure on Plunkett.
2nd down and 10.
Vikings now gone to a 4-man line. Gift. Holloway's in.
Thinking pass. Bradshaw and Branch move to the right. Top of your screen, that's Raymond Chester. He's like a wide receiver. Plunkett looking deep for Branch. He's double covered. Hannon steps in front of it, but I believe out of bounds. Yes.
You're right. You can say throw deep all you want, but they're playing for that, and it's just self-defeating.
Well, the Vikings' defensive philosophy for the past 100 years has been let them complete the ball in front of you, but don't let them get the home run.
Not a bad philosophy.
Not bad at all. It's worked pretty well for them over the years.
Defensively, among 28 teams in the National Football League, they were 24th against the pass, 25th against the rush. And once again, they won the Central Division.
Because of a gray-headed fellow there by the name of Grant, who doesn't do a bad job.
3rd and 10. Kenny King. Upshaw's out in front. King goes down after a gain of a couple, and it will bring out the punting unit of the Oakland Raiders with 1:05 on the clock remaining in the half.
I would say that is a very interesting call with 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go in the half, 3rd and 10 to run the ball. You're saying I'm just going to...
It's a defensive call.
I'm going to give up on the pass, and I'm just going to kick the ball out of here and hope to keep the score as it is.
Well, one thing Ray Guy does not want to do, because he can better believe that they will have a punt block on.
That is for sure.
Taking as much time as they can.
There's Eddie Payton. He's still stoked up, as well he should be. He has brought the Vikings back into this game. Ray Guy with that long count. Seconds ticking down inside 25. Hangs it high. Oh, this is going to be marked out of bounds somewhere around the 6-yard line. Beautiful thing to watch. It was academic, because I do not believe with any kind of punt with the Vikings try anything risky at this point with 14 seconds remaining in the half. And they're only down by 6 points.
I think you'll see...
They're within a touchdown and a field goal of the lead.
Giff, I think you'll see the old quarterback fall-down trick.
16-7. Little Eddie Payton going 99 yards. As you characterize the FRAN, an interesting game. Both teams losing their openers. Oakland knocked off 9-7 by the Denver Broncos. And Tampa Bay taking the Vikings on Saturday night, September the 5th, 21-13. Ricky Young, he's nailed there by a hard-charging Howard Long, who has been in on a lot of calls, this rookie from Villanova, already tonight. And with Willie Jones out for the season with an unrelated injury, unrelated to football that is, they could use a rapidly developing Howard Long. That's the end of the first half, and we'll be back with halftime activities after this message, and then a word from our local stations. All right, set to go. Chris Barr will kick off, and Eddie Payton, single deep man. There he is. And we would suspect that Brother Walton, one of the greatest runners of all time in this game, is watching his brother perform tonight. Short kick. Payton made a move on it. You better cover it, Eddie. That ball is alive. Touchback, and Minnesota will take over their first possession from their 20-yard line as we look at the halftime statistics, dominated, as you can see, convincingly by Oakland, particularly in net total yards.
Not only that, but the yards rushing reflects what we emphasized in the first half, Frank. Only 9 yards on the ground by this Minnesota team. With so unbalanced an attack, you can't go anywhere.
And yet each year, 11 out of the last 14, they have won the Central Division of the NFC. Tony Galbraith is in there, number 32, recently acquired from New Orleans. As Dills on first down at the man open, Sammy White. Sammy had to wait for it, or it could have been 6. The reception is good to the 36-yard line of Oakland. As either Oakland blew the zone, I think that Burgess Owens, who was down there pounding his fist, forgot to cover up for Lester Hayes.
I don't know, Giff. He's got Lester Hayes man-on-man. Now, Lester's covering him man-on-man. He's trying to, but Sammy put some kind of move on him, and he just beat him bad. Sammy White can play.
He stayed away from Lester Hayes. He gave him a couple of jukes, froze Lester Hayes for a second, avoided the one hit that Hayes had allowed by the rules, and the Vikings are at the 36-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. Play action, Tony Galbraith. The pass overthrown. Tony Galbraith, by the way, good receiver a year ago in New Orleans with 57 receptions. He'll fit into the Minnesota attack.
I'm surprised that he played him. Bud usually keeps them on the bench for at least a month, doesn't he, to learn the system. But I think he's the very best in the league coming out of the backfield. By the way, the Patriots, with all their great personnel, who've lost their first 2 games last Sunday against the Eagles, 13-3, have signed Sam Van Cunningham. He is back with the Pats.
Of course, he was out an entire year, all of last year, as a holdout. 2nd down and 10. Play action again. Dills completes the ball, and then is, I believe, short hop by Lester Hayes, ruled incomplete.
That's an interesting play. Looked like he might have had the ball.
Under the new determination of a reception, I think you're right, Fran. If that ball is in possession at all, you do not have to do something
well,
that is
here's an end zone replay.
indicative or close to the game.
It looked like he had it to me. Got it flipped out. Good play by Burgess Owens, and they don't get the fumble recovery.
The old rule used to be
fumbling it.
The old rule used to be on a reception, you had to come down with it and be able to do something common to the game. They've changed that. If you have possession at all, then it's ruled a completion. In any event, it's incomplete. 3rd down and 10.
Well, you got to think he's going to get to a shot sometime. Uh-oh.
Quick snap shotgun, what you spoke of a moment ago, Fran, but a flag is down also. That pass taken by Sammy White. Short of a 1st down, and a flag is down.
And you got a roughing the passer flag, too, back there, Giff.
And it might be offsetting. Joe Campbell was in there chasing Steve Dills, or rather Howard Long, the rookie from Villanova.
Until that bad snap from center, the very problem you expressed with the shotgun, Dills was getting excellent protection. He really was.
And he was delivering the football.
Right.
Our referee, again tonight, Gene Barth, discussing the penalty. First with his staff, and now Ted Hendricks is getting in there, have his say.
This is going to hurt the Raiders and help the Vikings.
That's the 3rd time tonight we've had roughing.
We've got a double foul. We're going to use the 5-15 rule. We got illegal motion on the right tackle offense. That penalty is refused. We enforce the 15-yard spearing penalty against 73 defense. 1st down.
Well, here we are. 73 is Dave Browning's. That's who they're giving it. But that's 75 Campbell hitting him. It wasn't 73. That's an interesting penalty. I don't know.
Yes, I don't know either.
I don't know what they're calling that. That was not spearing. He hit the man up around the
1st down and 10. Dills is back, and here come the Raiders. Storming in. Hendricks in there quickly, forcing Dills out of the pocket, and the loss is all the way back to the 30-yard line. A loss of 9. The 4th sack of the night. And the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings just not picking up the multiple ways in which Oakland comes with their pass rush.
Well, Ted Hendricks is so far tonight the most dominant player on the field once again.
Yep. 14 years of it.
But the Vikes still have momentum going, even with that play.
Sammy White split to the left. Rashad, bottom of your screen, covered closely by Lester Hayes. Dills. Was his arm in motion? I believe they'll say that it was.
Kid's getting hurt now.
And they really don't have anybody behind him. They've got a rookie named Wade Wilson,
who has not played it down.
That's right. And here's Dills going back under pressure again. This time the ball is just going to slip out of his hands as he tries to bring it forward. Watch here. It just slipped out of his hands.
There's another rookie, Johnny Robinson, right in the face of Dills.
You didn't see Hendricks in there this time because Ted backed off playing the pass. He knew what was coming. It was an obvious passing down, and he backed off.
3rd down, 19.
I would think the Vikings would go for something about a 10-yard play to get in position for the field goal. From that position, 10 yards up the field, Danmark can kick it.
Terry LeCount split to the right. Sammy White, top of your screen, along with Rashad. Fired and is caught. I believe it's ruled complete at the 18-yard line.
Well, give Mr. Dills, as you see Matuzak patting him on the head, a lot of credit. He threw the ball while being hit, falling down.
Sammy
he threw
White.
it well to Sammy White. Watch this. Here's Dills going back. You're going to see him get hit just as he tries to deliver the ball. He's hanging in there good and tough. There comes Browning. There comes Big Twos. and he still delivers a strike with that kind of pressure. The kid's tough.
Here's Rick Danmar, 37-yard attempt. Straightaway kicker. They're unusual today. And maybe that's why. That just barely crawled over the crossbars. And now we perhaps understand why Bud Grant did not want to try a 52-yard attempt early in the game. But the Vikings draw closer. We'll be back. Oakland. Well, they may have dominated in statistics, but right now they are a touchdown and a conversion from being behind as Minnesota gets 3 points off the right foot of Rick Danmar.
And I still say it was a very questionable call on the spearing. You may disagree, but I think it's a questionable call.
You made your point. Danmar to kick off. Ira Matthews, 43. Malcolm Barnwell deep for the Raiders. We would assume that Danmar would try and get the ball to Matthews. He just lines up and aims it at Matthews. Staying away from the speed of Barnwell. And Matthews steps to the outside. That's a nice return out to the 32-yard line.
Well, certainly Eddie Payton's kick run just before the end of the half changed the whole mood of this game, the whole tempo, the whole rhythm. One mistake by Oakland now, capitalization by Minnesota. It's the kind of game that Bud Grant has so often been able to steal.
You get Bud Grant in a close game, and he's tough. He knows how to win. He's been a great coach.
Plunkett, 8 for 18, 76 yards. Not pro-class, all-pro class style of quarterbacking. And he remains the quarterback, hands off to Kenny King. Kenny King gets away from Matt Blair down the side, and bobbles the ball. There's a scramble, and Minnesota does not recover before it goes out of bounds, and Oakland will get the advance of the run and the fumble.
For Minnesota to have gotten that ball, they would have had to achieve possession and control before going out of bounds.
Which
they failed to do.
And there's Kenny King. You'll see him run right by Matt Blair here. He tries to stick a hand out. Can't stop Kenny King that way. He gets hit pretty good. Drops the ball. Minnesota had a chance to make a play here.
That was Walt Williams diving for the ball, and then Tommy Hannon, who did not come up with it. The Raiders have the ball. The run and the fumble at the 45-yard line of Minnesota. Van Egan. And the steady one inside the 40 to the 38-yard line.
Behind Art Shell and Gene Upshaw. Money in the bank there.
Gain of 7. It'll be second down and 3. It's hard to believe that starting string of Gene Upshaw, who, by the way, is the president of the NFL Players Association. You'll be reading his name a lot in the next year.
He's the man who says the owners have no incentive to win in the National Football League.
But he has not missed a start since 1967. That's unbelievable.
I'd like him to tell some of the owners I know that.
Second down and 3. Plunkett changing off. And the little hitch in front of the defensive cornerback, it was Walt Williams, and Williams was playing off Bradshaw 12 to 14 yards.
I was just going to point that he was at least 12 yards off. He had no zone coverage deep. And that's the type of thing Oakland has to do. We've said it all night. It's against their philosophy of the pass offense, but if they're to be successful tonight, that's what they got to do.
I did not believe that one. He was hard time showing you something like that, but Walt Williams was at least 12 to 14 yards off Bradshaw. Plunkett saw it, very wisely changed the play. First down, Oakland. 33-yard line. Minnesota in a 4-3. Handoff Kenny King. Finds an opening. Gets another first down, or very close to it, as they'll mark it short at the 24.
I'll never understand how Oakland got Kenny King so cheaply in that deal with Houston. He's a super back.
Well, he had only carried the ball 3 times for Houston in 1979, and indeed they did. Getting cheap. 2 7th-round draft picks, and Jack Tatum, who was at the end of his career.
You've got an injury down there to one of the Vikings.
It's Kurtnoff, the safety man, who has been shaken up. Now, it appears to be all right. And there's the youngster we spoke of. That's the backup quarterback with Tommy Kramer hurt. That's Wade Wilson, a rookie from East Texas State. 8th-round draft pick. Behind him, FRAN, you'll have to get your polyester off and slide down there.
Well, I've been by the phone all night, and Bud hadn't given me the call yet.
No, I saw you talking to him today.
He just stoned me, though.
I'll tell you, I have to be concerned about young Steve Dills. He's been taking an awful beating back there.
And as you mentioned, Wade Wilson has no experience at all, hasn't even hardly taken a snap.
2nd down and 1 as they have marked the ball at the 24-yard line. Van Egan rumbles through the middle to the 1st down, close to the 20.
Well, this is nothing but just line up. It's old country hardball, power offense, and they're working.
Behind a very strong offensive line. Dalby at center. Mickey Marvin, who's probably just only now playing up his potential. Gene Upshaw, of course, we've talked about. Art Shell and Henry Lawrence on the other side.
The good teams, although it's the year and the time of the passing game, can run the football. And you're seeing it done right now by the Raiders, and the Vikings can't run it.
Knopf is back in for Minnesota at safety. 1st and 10, the ball right on the 20-yard line of Minnesota. King, left side. Ekes out 2, perhaps 3. Oh, now we get a flag. Somebody who's just a little over-eager.
Well, the number of majors against the Raiders tonight has been really evidence of undisciplined play, and I think this may be against the Raiders again.
Defense, unnecessary roughness, 63 offense.
It'll be offsetting.
The down count.
They did not get the number of the Viking, but it was Upshaw for the Raiders. Number 59, we are told. That would be Matt Blair.
And Matt Blair will hear about that from Bud Grant tomorrow. Bud Grant does not tolerate 15-yard penalties for personal fouls or unnecessary roughness.
And if he would tolerate it, it would be for Matt Blair.
He might keep him around.
2nd down and 8. This is Van Egan following the block of Kenny King. And Van Egan inside the 15, down around the 12-yard line.
Giff, as I watch Van Egan with the number 30 on his back run, he doesn't have a lot of speed, but he's a hard-nosed player. I think of a great player that played with the purple jersey in this stadium for many years, one Bill Boom Brown, who wore number 30 very proudly.
He still comes out here late at night and runs around with it on.
I'm sure he does. But
interesting call at this point. 3rd and a long 2.
Did you think Bud looked shook up? I've never seen him shook up.
Derek Jensen, 31, has replaced Van Egan. Kenny King, the other setback. The Raiders will go to the air. Plunkett has forever. Fires complete into the end zone. It's Morris Bradshaw. No flags down. Touchdown. Oakland on a 3rd and 3.
He had forever, Frank, to throw that ball.
Now, you know, that's how you can become a great quarterback when you have that kind of protection. Right. It makes the game very easy. As you look at this, I don't know if you'll see it now. You'll see him forever back there. He throws to Bradshaw in a crowd. He had Branch breaking open. Look at this. This is forever. Look at Branch broke wide open, but he saw Bradshaw and got it in for the touch. Impressive drive.
Bradshaw, who is replacing an injured Bob Chandler. And we hope Bob's doing well, looking on, following his surgery for a ruptured spleen last week. And the conversion is good. We're going to look at him again. He just works around there until he gets open.
Yep, he just goes back to the end zone, just tries to find an open spot. Branch is underneath trying to clear out. As you'll see, a lot of people around Bradshaw. Plunkett did do a good thing. He threw it behind him so he can make the catch.
And an almost got a finger on, but an almost won't do. The Raiders 23, Minnesota 10. An observation we were making in the booth. Oakland, the champions, came out. They did what they had to do. They went back to playing just hard, straight football, and they took it the length of the field. Chris Farr kicks off. Eddie Payton settles in at the 2-yard line. And this time, there was no gap, and Eddie Payton takes the pounding at the 22-yard line. First there, Derek Ramsey for Oakland. Jim Plunkett with his second touchdown pass of the night. Earlier, hitting Todd Christensen from 21 yards out.
You know that is, Fran.
Who's that behind him?
I think I have a hint.
Yuka covers this country.
He's everywhere. All right, let's see what the Vikings can do in response to that.
8:44 remaining in the third quarter. Both teams looking for their initial win of the season. Both divisional champions, and of course the Oakland Raiders, the Super Bowl champions, as a wild card a year ago. Tony Galbraith, his first attempt in a Viking uniform, piled up after a gain of about 1.
It's sad. It's sad. They're trying to run it. They just cannot run it. And I don't know the answer to that. But there are no holes. There's no place for the back to run. 2nd and 9. Jerry Burns, their offensive coach, once said, "On my tombstone will be 2nd and 9."
He hates 2nd and 9, and any coach would. Net rushing yards for the Vikings tonight, 11 yards.
Good Lord.
Oakland Raiders, as we said, 120. Hills throws low. Rashad cannot shovel it up. Covered there by Lester Hayes.
There's Big Gene. As Frank noted, president of the National Football League Player Representatives Association. In the midst of an impending labor management hassle, you can be sure it will come up. Contract expires July 15th, 1982.
Third down, long 8. Rashad. White split to the left. Bills is back. Ricky Young has the first down and more. And the Vikings get out of a tough situation as Ricky Young and Dills combine for the first down.
It's a great individual effort by Ricky Young.
It is, and Dills gets a little time to throw, and every time he's had time to throw, he's delivered a strike. And watch the effort by Ricky Young. It's a typical Ricky Young effort, day in, day out.
But he put a good move on Lester Hayes.
You know, you think about 11 yards rushing for the Vikings. Here you have a young quarterback with enough pressure as it is, and now all the pressure's on him. Now, no running game. He's got to throw to have a chance.
And
every down.
Of course, Oakland is aware of that. They almost disregard the run, as well they should. Incomplete, intended for Sensor. A little too much smoke on that ball, even for Sensor with the good hands to handle.
I've been watching Hendricks. He's been dropping off against the pass for the very reason you suggested. They know the pass is coming every play, but I wonder when he's going to start coming at the quarterback.
Well, you know, the best defense is to rush that pass, and Hendricks, I think, is much more effective when he's back in the quarterback's face than he is dropping back downfield.
I agree with you.
Back over Hendricks' record, 26 career interceptions, 12 fumble recoveries, 21 block kicks. And he is a great player. 2nd and 10. Bills again with time. And no, the official on the far side of the field says incomplete.
It was, and Ahmad knows it.
I'm not sure. I don't think Ahmad would have made that reaction if he didn't think he caught the ball. Let's watch and see. Make your own judgment. Runs a break in.
Sorry.
Ahmad, you...
Sorry.
Ahmad wants to be an actor,
That was
doesn't
a Willie Randolph play.
It wasn't even close.
I watched his TV show last night. He's very good.
Yes,
he is.
He is excellent. He's some quality human being. He's a little frustrated. He only caught 2 balls last week when they threw 63. And they haven't gone to him much tonight. He wants to get some numbers on the board and catches.
3rd down and 10.
They're coming. That's it.
And a sack by Rod Martin. You might point out that Ahmad Rashad has a string of 62 consecutive games in which he's caught 1 or more passes, and that's in jeopardy because he is goose eggs for tonight. It's 4th down. Ray Coleman in, Ira Matthews dropping for Oakland. There he is, at about his 33-yard line.
Got a little breeze at his back. A lot of breeze at his back.
Ooh, and Coleman had to hurry in, and he gets a boomer.
And he gets a rough in the kicker penalty.
Flag is down. Matthews is also down, and Minnesota will pick up a first down on a roughing the penalty. I mean, roughing the kicker.
I'll tell you what.
Can't believe the number of majors against Oakland.
Major, which shows how dominant they are, because they've had major penalties, 4 or 5 tonight, and they're still leading 23-10. Here it goes.
I think
Lester
it
Hayes.
was Ted Hendricks.
Well, Lester Hayes went by him, and here comes somebody else. Well, who's hitting him?
Todd Christensen got a little bit. Hendricks tried to stop.
Well, I don't.
That is absurd.
That is absurd. That's a bad call.
That is the worst.
Those punters are sacred.
The punter moves into Hendricks, and Hendricks gets penalized.
I do not believe that.
They practice it.
I do not believe it.
I don't care what they do. The officials are supposed to have a measure of intelligence.
And he's sitting right there watching it.
First down and 10, rather, following the roughing. Censor on the screen. The flag is down. Censor out over the 35 to the 37. Gain of about 5, but again, a flag is down.
I tell you, I can't get over that last call against Hendricks, Frank.
You know, that really wasn't even a judgment call.
So Minnesota will be backed up on the holding call. 6:55 remaining in the third quarter. 23-10, Oakland over Minnesota.
Holding, 78 offense, still first down.
Steve Riley, left tackle, holding Minnesota.
Well, that's the evidence of that crunching Minnesota ground attack we've been describing to you all evening.
Second quarter was exciting.
They had -2 in the second quarter. Is that a net of 11, fellas? My goodness.
First and 20. This is Galbraith. Galbraith shows you a little nifty footwork, working his way out to the 34-yard line for a 10-yard pickup. John Matuzak sliding out to make the stop.
The interesting thing to me there, they used a play pass action. They faked the run in order to throw the ball. Oakland kind of went for it. I don't know why they did, but they did.
Second down and 10.
I think Oakland now has decided they're going to just play pass defense. They put in their 5 defensive backs.
They're going to leave Matuzak and Hendricks and bring in all backs. Censor, and the big tight end steps out of bounds near the 37-yard line. Otis McKinley was there to make sure.
That
first down.
That McKinney hits like a linebacker.
Well, you know, Howard, the Oakland defensive backs are young and big. Burgess Owens is the most veteran guy back there that kind of holds them together, but they're young and big and fast. Good-looking group of people, and they got a #1 draft choice, Ted Watts, who we haven't seen, that they think is going to be a great defensive back.
Well, we did see him briefly, but...
Third down and 7. Ahmad Rashad split to the right. Sammy White goes out left. Here comes the pass rush. Stills has to hurry, and he gets it to Censor, but he drops it. That time he was on target. Under pressure, he hit Censor right on the hands, and that brings up 4th down. Hey, Censor had a great year last year with 42 receptions. As we look again.
Low angle with the reverse angle. Here we go. We'll see it come right into Censor, and you'll see him drop it again, I'll promise you. Ooh, great basketball player with great hands. He didn't have them then. The kid delivered it perfectly.
Greg Coleman, who drew the roughing penalty a few moments ago, set to punt again. Ira Matthews at his 22-yard line. Coleman with a fine booming kick that drives Matthews all the way back to his 10-yard line. And good coverage on the punt at the 15-yard line. Fred McNeil is there to meet Ira Matthews. We have 5:47 remaining in the third quarter. Again, 23-10, the Raiders over the Vikings. If you're a football player, you like the temperature tonight, right around 65 degrees. Showers were predicted. We have had none. As you look at Metropolitan Stadium.
And you saw that flag. Well, there's a strong wind here. Oakland is going against that wind right now. They would like to use this clock up and not give up anything and have the win the fourth quarter.
It is much more important than people realize.
It really is.
Psychologically and physically. Van Egan. He'll work on the clock for you as he gets 4 yards out to the 20. It'll be 2nd and 6.
So to eat up the clock, you run the football. Oakland's going to be running it. I'm sure Minnesota figures they will too. See if they can stop it.
Van Egan ripped off 3,000-yard seasons, 76, 77, 78, over 800 for the past 2 years. Steady, reliable. You have to play, not a breakaway threat, but he can really hurt you. Art Whittington. Talk a gain of 1. It'll be 3rd down and 4 as Doug Martin, the little brother of the Giants' George Martin, in on the stop with Matt Blair.
Don't forget Thursday night, Eagles against the Bills. Special starting time, 8:30 Eastern time. 2 unbeaten teams, each boasting sterling defenses. At the same time, the Bills with enough offense to have scored 66 points in their first 2 games.
If the Vikings have gone to 6 defensive backs, I would not be surprised to see Oakland run in the situation of 3rd and 4.
Ball just over the 20-yard line. Straight drop back. Bucket has Branch wide open, working against Walt Williams man-on-man, and it wasn't close.
No, it wasn't.
The Vikings decided to blitz that time. When you blitz, you leave your cornerbacks man-on-man. Walt Williams, again, was put on waivers 2 weeks ago by the Lions, now starting for the Vikings. And he wasn't close as right. But not many people are on Cliff Branch when it's one-on-one.
You have to respect that speed. He maybe has slowed up a step, but he had so much when he started 10 years ago at about 9-1 that, well, that really doesn't make any difference.
How about slowing up to 9-2?
1st and 10, 37-yard line. Flag is down. Bucket going for Whittington. Incomplete.
Willie Teal almost had his 2nd interception.
Gene Barth and his crew getting a lot of action tonight. Motion indicated against the Vikings.
The Raiders, Howard, have been successful with the short passing game and the running game. They go to the long pass again, and what happens? Should have been intercepted.
Yeah. Danger. Don't quite understand it.
Again, the options being explained to Matt Blair.
Illegal motion, 78 offense, penalty refused, 2nd down.
And instead of a 1st and 15, Minnesota wanted a 2nd and 10.
I taught you well, Bud. That's a good decision.
That's reflective of the finest winning record in the National Football League.
They haven't been bad on Monday night, have they, Howard? They've lost once out of 18 appearances.
And I remember when, in Buffalo.
Inside handoff, Whittington. And Whittington negotiates his way up to the 42-yard line for a gain of 5. Or rather, Kenny King it is, and Kenny King is hurt.
See his face.
This would be a very tough injury for the Raiders.
Pain etched in it.
Kenny King is down. His teammates around him. What a spark he gave the Raiders a year ago when he came from Houston. Gene Upshaw, the senior citizen of the Oakland Raiders in more ways than one, standing by.
You know, you can play this game for a long time. You can watch a lot of football. You never like to see injury. You never like to see this. You never like to see the pain of it. It's inevitable, not pleasant.
Again, there's Kenny King on the night.
All right, here we have a low-angle look at Plunkett handed off to Kenny King. Inside handoff, straight blocking. Let's see if we can see the hit. Gets hit up high.
Well, while we're watching, Kenny King is up on his feet, and I would almost have to think that he got the wind knocked out of him, because that is the most agonizing feeling there is, and now he appears to be all right.
Boy, he does look all right. I think
no
you're right.
Sensation quite like it. When the wind is gone, you can't breathe, you can't catch your breath, and you think it's all over. We'll get a report. 3rd down and 5. 4:05 and the clock moving here in the 3rd quarter. 23-10. The Raiders, who have dominated, leading the Vikings.
6 defensive backs. The run still isn't a bad thing to do here. He threw last time in the situation.
Whittington is in there with Van Egan. Flag is down. Bucket dancing around. Fires the ball out of the flat. Complete out there to Whittington.
Well, Cliff Branch was offside for sure, but the Vikings also had somebody to jump. They could call both of them.
This is like a preseason game in terms of miscues.
Cliff, it was you, my friend, is one of them.
Well, Cliff knows it. He nods his head approvingly.
Yeah.
Says one of their guys was doing something wrong.
I think it's going to be both offsides.
Offside, offense, encroachment, defense.
Yep.
We'll replay the down. Third down.
We'll work it out till we get it right.
Kenny King being worked over.
Looks like the left ankle. And
maybe it's the ankle.
It was very encouraging, however, to see him walk off the field.
Yep.
The ball is at the 42-yard line. Third down and 5 as we replay the down following the double foul. Bradshaw split to the right along with Cliff Branch. Bucket steps back in the pocket. Going for Cliff Branch. And we'll see the obvious foul. It was Walt Williams running right up the back of Cliff Branch as he tried to come back for the ball. And a flag is also down back at the 30-yard line.
Now, this will be interesting. There was obvious pass interference. I don't think Branch could have caught the ball, but Williams did run into him, and you got a penalty, as you said, Giff, back where the quarterback threw it. Let's see.
We have a double foul. Defensive interference, 44. Holding offense, number 70. We'll replay the down.
Well, we're going to do it till we get it right.
Yeah, this thing is really disintegrated.
Henry Lawrence holding Walt Williams, pass interference. It's third down and 5, 3:35 remaining in the third quarter.
If you call penalties breaks, Oakland has gotten the short end of that stick.
Look at the penalty differential.
Yep. Well, that one there was
all the majors against Oakland.
That would have been a 60-yard pass interference penalty as opposed to a 10-yard holding penalty. Third and 5 again, Giff.
Well, we're getting very familiar with it.
Now he's going to run.
Whittington. He'll be short of the first down at the 48-yard line. Tom Flores cannot be happy with the ragged play of his team as well as Minnesota, even though the Raiders are leading 23-10. And here's Ray Guy. And Eddie Payton moves deep for the Minnesota Vikings.
Reached the point where Payton is their lone offensive threat.
Well, the Vikings are going to have the ball one more time with the wind at their back. And as strong as this wind is, they better make that good because it's going to be tough coming back, throwing the ball against the wind. They're going to try to block it.
They go for the ball. And Ray Guy senses it, hurries the kick, and still gets a booming, towering kick that goes all the way to the 10-yard line, and that's where the Raiders hustle down and nail Eddie Payton. Ted Watts down there first, the #1 draft pick. And the Minnesota Vikings, with 2:38 working with the wind here in the third quarter, take over deep in their own territory, down by 13. We're back in Bloomington, and the Minnesota Vikings, down by 13 points, will take over at their own 10-yard line.
How'd you like to be in Dill's spot here? He cannot run the ball. He's on his own 10-yard line. Facing the defense has pressured him all night. Nobody said it'd be easy.
Tony Galber stays in, number 32, and Ricky Young, number 34. Those are the setbacks. This is Ricky Young.
Oh, gosh.
Pecking along the line until he finds Big John Matuzak. Gain of a couple, it'll be second down and 8. Well, Kenny King, by the way, we have been told, has a slightly sprained ankle. He might be back.
I doubt it, Frank, unless they get into trouble.
That's a major gain for the Vikes tonight on the ground. About 2.5-yard gain. Moves them up to 13.5 for the night.
Whatever happened to that old adage about setting up your running game to make the passing game go? Second and 8. Bills. And it's complete. Here comes Rashad. Ahmad Rashad has kept his string of 62 games intact And he has also put the Minnesota Vikings from the shadow of their goal post to midfield.
There he goes, the play pass action. The Raiders only had 3 defensive linemen. They got no pass rush out of that. They have time to throw the Rashad. Quite frankly, Howard, I don't know why the Raiders are standing in the 3-man line. The Vikings can't run.
I don't either.
They might as well go to a 4-man line.
The only way they've nullified their own best defensive effort.
That's right.
Hendricks. I don't understand it.
And they're not blitzing off the 3-man line then.
First and 10 at midfield.
They blitz this time with Hendricks.
The play action again, and a flag is down. The intended receiver was censored.
See the difference with Hendricks rushing?
Yeah,
right
pressure.
back in there.
Holding the Vikings, and they are beginning to make the major mistakes. That, of course, coming your way on Saturday. And Notre Dame going against Michigan. Notre Dame, number 1, getting off to their winning ways already early in the year. Again, 1:30 Eastern, 12:30 Central, 10:30 Pacific. College football. 2 of the big names over the year, Notre Dame and Michigan. The ratings again, according to the Associated Press. Ron Yerry holding for Minnesota. And Giff, first down and 20.
Congratulations to Bill Curry of Georgia Tech for his major upset over Alabama last week. Nobody thought he could do it, but old Curry did. Oh my goodness.
Again, the long count, and Oakland is offside. Whether or not they were drawn off, we'll wait and see.
I think they were.
False start on the quarterback.
What happened?
Steve Dills is getting into the act.
Dillsy wanted to get out of there in a hurry, and Swilly never gave him the ball. I think he pulled out too quick.
Down will remain the same. It'll be first down and 25. Not an enviable position.
Now, it's interesting to see if Oakland goes to their 4-man rush and 5 defensive backs.
1:11 remaining in the third quarter.
They've got it in there. They've got Sir Cedric Hardman in there.
And they feel with Willie Jones out of the lineup, Cedric Hardman, the veteran of 12 years, is still their finest pass rusher. He's number 86. Dills. This will be overthrown, almost intercepted by Burgess Owens or Dwayne Osteen.
And I'm just looking at a frustrated number 28, Ahmad Rashad, because he had beaten his man, was wide open. Steve Dills did not throw to the open receiver.
Still don't understand why they're dropping Hendricks back. Every time he rushes, he dominates the play. Forced a penalty a few seconds ago.
They have so many ways in which they come at you, Howard. They really do. Hendricks is a danger. He's like another defensive back when he drops into the defense.
But I agree with Howard. He's pressured them all night. They haven't blocked him yet when he's rushed.
Oh, I think we'll see. There he is, top of your screen now. Now he drops
Still
again.
dropping back.
Second and 25. Over the middle, and it's complete to Ricky Young, who gets maybe 5 or 6 yards. They needed much more.
All right, American update in Major League Baseball.
Third down and 18. Final seconds ticking away here in the third quarter. Bills back. Going deep. There's double coverage on Sammy White, and a flag goes down. We could have pass interference.
Yep, that's what it's going to be.
Lester Hayes, Burgess Owens were in great position. There was no reason for the interference.
Interference, 37 defense.
Lester Hayes.
Well, the way this thing is disintegrating, we may get back to a football game again.
Out there with the new rules, it is some kind of tough to play in the defensive secondary in this league now. Any bump, any touch, any glance, and the defense has got a penalty.
The first down is at the 32-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. Bills looks it over. 3-man down front for the Raiders. And hanging it up deep, intended for Sammy White, who was knocked off, as was Ahmad Rashad. Well, that's the end of the third quarter with the score of the Oakland Raiders 23, the Minnesota Vikings 10. We begin the fourth quarter here in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Minnesota Vikings on the move. The because of an interference call against Lester Hayes. They have a first down and 10 inside the 33-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. They trail 23-10, or rather a second down and 10. Joe Sensor, the tight end, is in motion. Dills going to Sammy White. He's there and inside the 10-yard line, stepping out of bounds. Down at the 7-yard line, it'll be first and goal to go. And no flags.
All right, here is the end zone. Dills gets a little time. He needs time to throw this corner pattern to White. Matuzak's in his face. He makes a good throw. White beats McKinney. I don't care how good you are man-to-man when you give him time. Watch Dills take another lick as Matuzak comes in. That's smarts. Kid's learning how to play, though.
285 pounds, 6'8" is Don Matuzak. Ball just inside the 7-yard line, first down, goal to go.
And here's where Oakland has this coming. I don't agree with the whole defensive play.
Well, here's where you need to be able to run the ball.
This quarter.
Let's see if they can run it. They might go to the pass right now.
I'd hate to think they would try with the run. They're not. The quick roll.
He's got a touchdown.
Ricky Young. Touchdown. And Minnesota draws close once again.
It's a ball game again.
Well, you got a flag down.
Discussion down on the field.
They might call this a pick, Howard.
No touchdown.
No.
Offensive pass interference. 28.
Against Ahmad Rashad, and you're right, they don't call it a pick anymore, Fran, but he did step into one of the defenders, prohibiting his line to the receiver.
It's like a screen in basketball where you screen a man off, and that's what Ahmad did. You do it and hope you get away with it. It's better sometimes to ask forgiveness rather than permission. This time they asked forgiveness, and it didn't work.
Offensive pass interference, number 28. Still first down.
And the ball moved now back to the 17-yard line.
Down in that area, you've got man-on-man coverage, and Ahmad tried to screen the linebacker who was coming out to cover Young. He did it very well.
They watch that now. We used to do a lot of it.
Y'all cheated a lot in those days, didn't you, Jeff?
Yeah, we even got to hit people. Down remains the same. First and goal to go at the 17. Hanging it up in the corner, intended there for Ahmad Rashad.
What a matchup. What a matchup. Hayes and Rashad. And they both jumped up, and they're talking to each other down there. Ahmad said, "That's not bad, Lester." He said, "I'll get you next time." Lester said, "I don't have stickum on my hands
I was going to
anymore."
say, Ahmad was checking Lester for stickum.
Yeah.
Good defensive play by Lester Hayes.
That really was.
What a remarkable year once again. 13 regular season interceptions, 5 in the playoffs.
Well, again, the most compelling statistic is Minnesota's absence of a ground game. Yards passing, they're now well ahead of Oakland. Total yardage, they're not that far away. Possession time, not that unequal. But no ground game.
Nope. Marty McDowell, the Vikings' first-round pick, or rather first choice in the draft, is in there. He wears number 88. Sensor off the fingertips. Again, good coverage. Otis McKinney, and Lester Hayes.
Here's a little interesting piece of data for you, Howard. Yesterday, of the 12 games or 11 games played, 9 teams that won also rushed for more yards than the team that lost.
Where are you getting all this information?
Scour that paper on Monday morning.
Bud Grant.
There's the old Silver Fox.
In his 15th year, as I mentioned earlier, 11 Central Division titles out of 14 years. You throw his victories up at Winnipeg in with his wins here at Minnesota, and he's second only to George Hallis overall. Third and goal from the 17. A lot of time for Dills.
He's got a man.
He's got his receiver. Sammy White. And we will have a 4th and goal to go.
And I don't think there's any decision here. He's got to go for the touchdown.
They'll mark it inside the 4-yard line. Get the play in quickly. Let the team settle down.
Frank, I just don't understand in professional football why Oakland is playing this kind of defensive game.
Well, they could not get the play in. Again, both teams are on the same side of the field. The Vikings are furthest now from the offensive huddle. So timeout is called because this one the Vikings desperately need. A touchdown, and they draw within 6 points of the Oakland Raiders. All the discussion has taken place. Back into the huddle comes young Steve Deals. It is 4th down, goal to go. The ball inside the 4-yard line. Deals comes up to the line of scrimmage, looks it over. You know the call coming directly from the bench.
Surprise play here. Could be a trap up the middle, Giff. Would that surprise you? They could do it.
It would shock me.
Well, it's not. It would shock. Not going to do it. Probably
man was open. It was Joe Sincer, underthrown. Otis McKinney on the coverage.
But the pass rush was returned.
Matt Millen rushed the passer. The linebacker blitzed, and that we haven't been seeing lately from Oakland. They got the pressure again. All right, here's Dills. He's going to get pressure again. His man was pretty well covered by McKinney. He had a little step, but he'll get somebody right in his face as you see him there and gets kissed.
Ooh. And the pressure came right in his line of sight to Sincer. So Oakland will take over at their own 4-yard line. And you will see some Van Egan running. Again, Kenny King on the sideline with a sprained ankle. The 2 tight ends are in. That's for additional blocking. Van Egan. Van Egan moves out over the 5 to the 7-yard line. Gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
In my opinion, the whole Viking drive was made possible, even though it failed, by the absence of the pass rush as Oakland changed its whole defensive strategy.
And penalties again. Every drive they've had tonight has been the result of some kind of penalty against the Oakland Raiders.
By the way, this town's pretty excited about the young Minnesota Twins. Today, won their 7th in a row. Red hot ball club in the second half.
Look how far Walt Williams is off of Cliff Branch. He's about 14 yards off. He's got to throw it all night.
Van Egan, left side, finds an opening, gets out over the 10-yard line. And Minnesota is saying they've got the football. The Raiders are saying they do not.
You know, I know that when you're in this situation with that kind of lead, ball control looks good. When you got a cornerback playing 14 yards off your end, there's no safer play in the world than to throw a hitch out there. None whatsoever. Because fumbles are part of the game down there.
3rd down, call it 3, as they mark the ball at the 11-yard line. We're in the 4th quarter. Shabbily played game. Both sides. Yet there is much on the line. Both these teams lost their opener. San Diego and Oakland's division, along with Kansas City, have won their first 2. Bucket. Man is open. Cliff Branch. And almost picked off. Good defensive play by Willie Teal.
But not a good throw by Jim. He laid the ball up too high. Branch had his man beaten easily. And if he'd have put the ball on a line like he can do, he would have had a big play. Watch Branch. You'll see him beat his man to the post. There's no free safety out there. He's got nothing but the middle of the field. And he straightens him up with a high pass. And it gave Teal a chance to make a play. Should have been a long, long gainer for the Raiders. Now here's where Ray Guy comes in handy, Giff, with the wind at his back.
I was just amused where Eddie Payton is lined up. He's inside his own 35-yard line. Ray Guy is halfway into his end zone. What respect?
They got the return on this time.
Ray Guy kicking with the wind.
Oh, they don't either.
And he had to hurry once again. And now Eddie Payton calls for the fair catch at midfield. Throws it off, and Minnesota will be in good field position once again on a 40-yard net by Ray Guy. And we'll be back in Bloomington, Minnesota again with fine field position. Steve Dills has thrown the ball 40 times. He threw it 62 times last week against Tampa Bay.
And 13 times rushing, but would you try to rush the ball any more than that when you had 13 rushes for 14 yards, Howard?
No, but history proves you can't win with that kind of unbalanced attack.
5 other times he was sacked trying to throw. 1st and 10, Minnesota. Rod Martin. And Dave Browning finally pulls down Steve Dills. 6th time tonight, the sack. This time there's a loss of 12.
Well, there it is. The minute they go back to the rush, instead of giving yardage on short stuff and giving Dills time,
well, it's interesting.
They kill him.
Well, it's interesting that play pass action from Minnesota has been giving him protection tonight. I don't know why, but there's no threat of the run. That time, Oakland ignored the threat of the run and rushed the passer.
And Steve Dills, holding his left arm, gives way to rookie Wade Wilson from East Texas State.
Now, I'll tell you guys, this is a tough situation for this kid. He really hasn't played hardly at all in training camp. No experience whatsoever.
8th round draft pick. Flips it out quickly. This is Tony Galbraith. He comes back in, gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all.
Guys, I got to leave. I see Bud motioning to me. I'll say I'm going down to the field. Bud, here I am, up here. No, you motion to me? I'll be down in a minute. Look up here.
So it's 3rd down and 20, and there is another injured player down on the field, another Viking. 4-year letterman at East Texas State was Wade Wilson. Played as a pocket passer, completed 338 out of 660 attempts for over 4,000 yards and 32 touchdowns, but he's playing in a different league at the moment. So Wade Wilson has replaced Steve Dills with an injured Tommy Kramer, still unable to perform. Should be interesting. We'll be back with the action in a moment. Green Raw rookie is in the lineup at quarterback. Wade Wilson, an 8th round draft pick from East Texas State. 3rd down and 20. That's not a good situation to come in on. Look at this. Sammy White. Look at this. Sammy White, that's the 1st down, I do believe. Again, it will depend upon where they mark it. Very fine pass.
It was a wonderful pass. How many? Here's a low reverse angle. There's a great picture. You see Sammy White making his break. You see Wilson throwing. Well, a linebacker had to fall down, but Sammy's in position. Wilson delivered the ball, and we got a 1st down. Strange things happen.
It was the slip that enabled the completion.
Had a Joe Cap spiral on it. 1st and 10. Such happenings are legends made. Wade Wilson.
Look at this.
Complete to Tony Galbraith. 9-yard pickup.
This is really something. We got a story in the making, fellas.
Saw left shoulder for Dills, and Wade Wilson, frankly, as Red said to Scarlett, you know.
I know what you're going to see a lot of by Oakland. When you get a young quarterback in, you try to show them a lot of movement along the line of scrimmage. You show them a lot of blitzes. Try and upset.
Look at Bud laughing. He can't believe it either. Bud can't believe it either.
It's down 13 points. 10 minutes, 20 seconds left to go.
And he's got an unknown quantity of quarterback that is 2 for 2. Ricky Young, right side, gets the 1st down with the strong running game of the Vikings. Bud Grant actually did show the first smile I think we've ever had on our ABC cameras. Calling the plays into Wade Wilson with the wigwag. Bud had no Vikings first rushing 1st down of the night.
He had no idea that he'd have to play Wade Wilson, the quarterback, I can assure you. And the kid is doing okay.
Hasn't even played in preseason.
No. Hadn't even played in practice.
Here comes the safety blitz, Otis McKinney. And quickly, Wilson recovers, gets on the ball, but there is a loss. Back to the 39-yard line.
Now, McKinney showed you something tonight, didn't he?
Watch this. Now, here's what you should do. There's no way he knows there's going to be a corner blitz or safety blitz. McKinney comes from the blind side. A veteran quarterback has to watch him line up, and he can kind of sense they're going to come like that and has to get rid of the ball. This kid has no idea.
He's never seen it before.
Never has. He still doesn't know who hit him.
2nd down and 20.
Oakland's had 7 sacks, Minnesota 3, but the kid kept his presence, recovered the football.
Oh, he did all kinds of blitzes. This one batted away by John Matuzak. 6'8". The man can really stretch out.
Has O2s.
First player picked in the draft in '73. He's had quite a journey through the NFL.
But he found a home, didn't he?
Signed up the WFL, court threw that out. Traded by Houston to Kansas City, then sent to Washington. They let him go. He's played superb football here at Oakland.
You like that move.
I like it.
Uno Mini.
That's not bad. All right, this is kind of getting exciting with old Wade. Let's see what he's going to do.
Rookie, second-round draft pick. Marty McDowell is in there.
They're not blitzing. They're giving him.
There's it is. The blitz was his arm in motion. This could be 6 points.
I think.
It's going to be Cedric Hardman. And it was Howard Long. We talked about him earlier that really popped Wade Wilson, coughed the ball up. Cedric Hardman picked it up. The arm was not in motion. It was a fumble, and Cedric Hardman has scored for Oakland.
Howard Long, last man at Villanova. Villanova's last football team.
And the legend will have to wait.
Yep, I'm afraid it will, but the kid did well. I'd like to see that replay again. It looked like to me he had another slippy like Stills did a while ago. Let's watch it. There he goes back.
He must have that right arm in motion.
All right, let's see if he does.
He had it back.
He had it back, and I don't know.
No, it wasn't going forward till he had lost the ball.
The entire Viking offensive unit, they wouldn't have caught Hardman in any event. But they just kind of relaxed.
That's the furthest Hardman's run in 10 years, Frank.
Oh, he had some great years with the 49ers before joining Oakland a year ago. Here's Chris Barr. To the uprights. And Oakland is beginning to put the Vikings out of their misery. And they do have some with quarterback Tommy Kramer unable to play. Now Steve Dill's the backup to an injured Tommy Kramer, also out of the lineup, with the rookie Wade Wilson in. Not happy times for Bud Grant. With his 1 and 2 quarterback both out of action. An offense without any resemblance of a running game whatsoever.
But his owner, Max Winter, still has a sense of humor. He just in the next booth, and there's a glass pane separating us, took out his billfold, took out all the money from that fold, held it up as an enticement to Sir Francis, come back.
And I said more.
He sent somebody out. Short kick, looking to pick it off, and it's covered by Minnesota at the 30-yard line. It was Marty McDowell, the rookie from Mississippi State.
Now, Giff, you posed an interesting question. What happens if Wade Wilson goes down? And the way they're hitting him,
They'll
tough.
find Bobby Lee.
Bobby Lee. He's got more lives than the cat. He keeps coming back and back and back.
There he is, 6'3", 212 pounds.
I see Max. Max, hold up that money again, Max.
Principal owner of the Vikings.
That's some guy.
8:38 remaining in the game. Tony Galbraith, the single setback. Sammy White, Marty McDowell, the rookie from Mississippi State with the blazing speed, is in there now. This is Sammy White. Ball thrown low, and he settles at the 32-yard line for a gain of a couple.
And he got to meet Ted Hendricks, too. I imagine he always wanted to get Ted's autograph, and he had a chance right there.
You think back, how old would he have been? Ted's been around 14 years. Got Wade Wilson, 22 years old.
Well, I guess he'd have been 8.
Out there.
He'd have been 8.
He probably would like his autograph.
Yeah, I'm sure he would.
2nd down and 8. Ahmad Rashad splits out to the right. Marty McDowell to the left. Wilson this time again. He was confronted this time by Big Joe Campbell. 6'6", 250 pounds. He tried to throw between his arms.
Another factor involved here, Frank, because clearly Oakland has this game won. Remember, this Thursday night, the Eagles against the Bills, both unbeaten, 2 magnificently constructed football teams. But the Bills, with that great defense, suddenly have scored 66 points in 2 games, so now they've apparently got the offense to go with it. I'll get back to the other point after this play.
Okay. 3rd down and 7. Wilson. And that has been caught and almost was taken on the deflection out of the hands of Rashad by Sammy White. Fourth down, and out comes the punting unit. Tell me what was interesting about this aspect of it, Howard.
Point I was going to make is National Football Conference has grown weary of the domination by the AFC and interconference play in recent years. But after Oakland wins this game, quickly the AFC will be ahead 5-1. The only NFC victory, the Eagles over the Pats.
There's Ira Matthews. You really keep track of that, don't you?
I think it's interesting.
Greg Coleman. Bunting. Matthews. Yeah. Sees a purple shirt right in his face and steps out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Keith Nord hustling down as we look at John Matuzak. We look at the scoreboard clock, which indicates 7:30 remaining in the game. Good practical.
Well, in case you missed it, this was the high point of the final quarter. Our most exciting moment.
Those are not Betty Davis eyes.
Look how much bigger.
And Browning.
He makes Browning look like a little boy, and Browning is, what, 245, 250?
6'5", 245, and he looks like Matuzak's little kid.
He does, doesn't he?
All right, 1st and 10 for the Oakland Raiders. The ball inside their own 31-yard line. The game well in hand. Nothing they can be terribly proud about, but when you look back at the end of the season, it won't really matter. No one will necessarily remember how it was played. Barnwell now split to the left. He has the blazing speed. I think the Raiders would like to see what he can do. Whittington over the left side. Not an easy night for this man, Ahmad Rashad.
It's tough for quality players like Ahmad to be in a game when they get beaten like this. They're having to go with their third-team quarterback. He's been used to playing on championship teams here. It's not easy to be 0-2.
He will never give less than 100%, however. He's that kind of a player. There was a gain of 4 at 2nd down and 6. Whittington over the left side. Plunkett. Flag is down. This is Malcolm Barnwell, and the Raiders really high on this youngster. Came up a year ago and missed the season with an injury. Great speed.
Virginia Uni, a bond burner.
Offside Oakland. Even Jim is getting tired of all these penalties. Pair of young quarterbacks.
Offside, still 2nd down.
And the man on the spot at the moment with Dills injured is, of course, the rookie Wade Wilson from East Texas State. Derek Ramsey is a tight end now for Oakland. It'll be 2nd down and 11. 10 penalties against the Raiders, 119 yards. Whittington. Again, over Archell, Gene Upshaw.
All right, here we go, guys. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is forbidden.
I don't know, Dandy does that. Dandy does that pretty good. You know, he sings that once in a while. You're going to have to loosen up your singing voice.
Well, I checked your act out singing.
Yeah, we'll give him a test. Dandy, of course, will be in Buffalo with us, Fran.
He gets to go to all the biggies.
Oh, I've got your old teammates out here tonight. 3rd down and 7. Plunkett. Falls on the ball. I might also wonder, as we see another flag down in the field, wouldn't this be a pretty good time to see Mark Wilson, the potentially brilliant quarterback for the Oakland Raiders, who maybe could well use a little playing time.
That's a very good point. You wonder why he hasn't been put in there. The scuttlebutt all around the league is that this kid may become the next truly great quarterback. Mark Wilson out of Brigham Young.
An interior lineman on the right side was offside defense, still 3rd down.
There he is right there. What a remarkable career he had at Brigham Young. He's big, 6'6", 205. Has already shown that he can move the football, even though he only threw it 5 times last year. He did very well in the preseason this year. We've got a 3rd and 3 now for the Raiders. Plunkett. He's being pursued by Matt Blair and finally dumps it off in the general direction of Cliff Branch, and it brings up 4th down.
Giff and Howard, let me ask you a question. There's no question that Al Davis thinks that Mark Wilson will be their quarterback someday. How long do you think he will make him wait?
2 more years.
What do you think, Giff?
Well, I just thought he could, I don't believe to replace Plunkett at all after what he did last year, but I think it's a time when you could put him in there. Plunkett, let's face it, he took them to the Super Bowl. He earns the right to be in there, but up 30 to 10, 5 minutes left in the game. Let's face it, he's not going to hurt them. Jim Plunkett's the kind of man that would understand it.
Probably like the rest.
Ray Guy to punt. Eddie Payton way back. Flags are down once again.
And the Vikings are offsides, and that'll give Oakland a 1st down.
Their catch called for and made, and unless they were drawn off, that will be exactly the situation. We'd like to remind you about Nightline coming your way tonight on ABC. And it'll explore the controversial visit of the South African rugby team to the United States. A controversy that some say could even cost the U.S. the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles. That's on Nightline tonight.
They must have drawn him offside because the Viking did jump, but the guard must have moved in front of him, or the center moved the ball, one of the two. I'm not sure it makes a lot of difference at this point of the game.
No, it doesn't. This has not been a tidy victory for a Super Bowl champion.
Illegal motion, right guard offense, still 4th down.
But they will take it because they'll have the first victory under their belts, and they didn't play that great early last year either. They really came together in the 45-34 victory over Pittsburgh.
Well, you know, all your victories are not tidy, Howard. You take them any way you can get them, and you have them all tight during the season.
Yes, they never remember at the end of the year.
No, they...
Next Sunday, Oakland will open up at home against Seattle. Ray Guy really bangs this one up high. It'll have ice on it, and a flag is down.
I think we might have roughing.
We might have roughing against Ray Guy.
Yes,
we will.
Let's see if he acted his way to that penalty or he really got hit.
I mentioned that Oakland will be home to Seattle. We'll look again.
All right, here we go. Thank you, Mr. Forty. Let's watch this act. Or was it the real thing? There it goes.
Sometimes it looks like kind of a candy way to bring
that one even.
That's another one.
I was only trying to explain. A punter is so vulnerable when he's up completely off the ground, and that's why you really cannot touch him. There he is.
There's my man, Mark Wilson.
Everybody loves the young quarterbacks who have never played a whole lot. Remember that.
I don't think they'll let him throw the ball unless he gets into a necessary position. And quickly, defensively, fine play by James White, the nose guard. Duck quiet, as they call him up here, a loss of a couple. Detroit will come here next week for the Minnesota Vikings in Detroit. They're a vastly improved team.
Playing pretty good football.
They played San Diego as close as you want to get yesterday and losing.
That's right.
They held the Chargers to under 60 yards rushing yesterday with their newfound running attack of Brooks and Muncie. Played very well.
2nd down and 12. Could be that Mark Wilson will put it in the air. Could be, but isn't. Whittington over the right side gets back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Dennis Johnson is in there defensively. Now at linebacker.
Here's a little trivia for it. First touchdown pass ever threw in the stadium was caught by the now offensive coach of the Detroit Lions. Former teammate of yours with the New York Football Giants.
That's not trivia, that's trouble.
Bob Schnelker.
Oh, is Bob at Detroit? I can keep track of him.
Yep.
He's a great pal, but he has been traveling around the league, hasn't he?
Number 85 he wore out of Bowling Green.
That's right.
They mark it up around the 38-yard line, so it's 3rd down and 9. Here's Wilson's first pass. Going for the speedster. Barnwell, touchdown.
Oh-ho!
That's the man that they're so high on. Malcolm Barnwell out of Virginia Union. Basically a rookie 61-yard touchdown from Mark Wilson, beating Walt Williams.
Didn't take him long, did it?
Nice throw.
I saw him one time play a game, a bowl game in San Diego. The first 3 times he threw the pass for Brigham Young were touchdowns like this. Just to wrist. Pretty spiral also, Francis.
What a throw.
Well, that was a nice throw. The guy had Walt Williams one-on-one, no free safety. I mean, it was a good play, but it's the
first professional touchdown pass and the first professional touchdown by Barnwell. Chris Barr will tack on the insult. Almost. That's usually where Matt Blair comes over the top, and I'm sure it was. Yes, it was. Number 59.
Although it was a low kick.
Sets 11 NCAA records at Brigham Young, did this young man, over 3 years. 29 touchdown passes as a senior. Over 3,500 yards in his senior year. He had 7 straight games of 300-plus yards. I'd say he has a future.
He might have a future. Obviously, he's a good prospect, but the truth will never be known until he has to take a team from day 1 to the end of the 16-game season and see how he does over the haul.
There are starters and there are relievers.
That's the true test. I've seen a lot of guys come in relief and be absolutely unbelievable. When they had to carry the load, they weren't.
I've got a question, Fran. Your first game up here, you were not the starting quarterback. Who did start up there?
George Shaw started for the first 5 minutes, and then I got to play from that point on.
And that began the enmity with Van Brock.
That's right.
And the first game played here, you beat the Chicago Bears.
That's right. We did.
38-13.
That is true. That is true.
There's Eddie Payton. Chris Barr drills it along the ground, trying to avoid Eddie Payton. And Eddie Payton avoids the ball. Covers it in the end zone, touchback.
That's right.
Oh, and Barnwell again in on the play, and Eddie Payton did not like Barnwell putting his hands on him in the end zone.
Well, if you want to see a fight, gentlemen, it'll take place in Las Vegas Wednesday night.
Who do you like in the fight, Howard? Hearns, Leonard?
I think it pays your money, it takes your choice. I can't figure it out.
Hearns, of course, the big knockout artist. Leonard.
Oh, Leonard's a much better puncher than he's given credit for being, believe me. I don't know. I think the big question is how does Leonard's mental, emotional, and physical being compare with what it was before Duran second time around?
One thing, his bank account's all right.
That's the point. That he become a banker instead of a fighter.
1st and 10, 20-yard line for the Minnesota Vikings. They will have lost their first 2 games of the season for the first time ever here in Minnesota as we watch rookie Jarvis Redwine from Nebraska, a 2nd-round draft pick up quick 7 yards. Those are the results of turnovers, as they usually are. Minnesota traded their 1st-round draft pick this past season to Baltimore, and Baltimore picked up 2 2nd-round picks. So Baltimore had an extra one. And Redwine, the man who just carried the ball, was one of those 2nd-round draft picks. Marty McDowell, the rookie from Mississippi State, was the other.
Redwine has been an open disappointment, Frank, to the Vikings, and it's only fair to say so in terms of the Vikings management and coaching staff. They've discovered that Jarvis will not run inside, but will invariably run outside.
Redwine, of course, from Nebraska. We saw another Nebraska running back, a 2nd-round draft pick of Miami, Andre Franklin, who performed well this past Thursday night. Says Redwine. That's the first down out of over the 35. 5'10", 198-pounder. As a junior, 1,100 yards rushing. As a senior, 1,100 yards rushing.
Really, out of the draft, they might have help in the future out of that draft, but they got really no starter help out of the draft this year.
Inside 230.
But then Bud Grant doesn't play many rookies. He hasn't had many rookie starters in his coaching career.
Redwine is the top rusher now for the Vikings for the night with 15 yards. This is Sam Harrell, right side, out to the 42-yard line. Sam Harrell, basically a rookie himself, missed his first season of a year ago with him being on the injured reserve, and we're heading for the 2-minute warning. Bud Grant cannot be happy with what has occurred here tonight. Minnesota up to the line of scrimmage. They're looking at youngsters now. Darvis Redwine, 22, one setback. The rookie we've talked about from Nebraska, Sam Harrell, basically a rookie from East Carolina. And this is Darvis Redwine. Right side. Now they are running. Of course, Oakland relaxed. First down for Minnesota. Stadium almost empty here as the final season of Metropolitan Stadium gets underway tonight, and a disappointing one surely for the good fans up here. And over the years, Fran, they have been good fans, great supporters.
They really have. They've come out here to sell the stadium out in 10 below zero weather. It makes no difference to the weather here. They've been here to support this team.
Okay, Wade Wilson, surrounded with a pair of rookies, did not like what was happening. He used the timeout. The Vikings have one. We have a little more than 1:20 remaining, and want to remind you again, if you haven't dozed off, that we are going to see quite a ball game on Thursday night at a special time again at 8:30. The Buffalo Bills with a tremendous defensive unit, and of course the steady, reliable Joe Ferguson, who finally has collected himself a supporting cast. First and 10. Wade Wilson. Complete. This is Bob Brewer, who has come in for Censor at tight end.
You know, Giff, the Vikings may be 0-2 now, but anybody in the Central Division knows as long as Bud Grant is here coaching, they're never out of this division race.
That may be, but there are days of wine and glory, and success in sport is but transitory. And we'll watch this play.
On second down and 2, Redwine gets the first down.
The basic fact is that realistically we are seeing a transition in power in the National Football League. Teams like Atlanta and Buffalo becoming first line. Consistency of excellence being maintained by Dallas and by Oakland. But Minnesota's in trouble. The draft choices aren't here. Pittsburgh has only 3 rookies on their whole team, part of their problem. So Chuck must begin to rebuild. Noel, of course, I mean. And the Rams' problems, nobody can figure out.
On first and 10, Wade Wilson going deep, and of course coverage downfield provided by Dwayne Osteen, who is just kind of playing back there as center field. Clock stop at 5 seconds on it. And for this man, it's hard to say. They have not performed all that well, Howard, tonight, the Oakland Raiders.
No, but this is the way they started last year, really, to come on. Somehow they make the plays they have to make. They're a consistently excellent professional football team. Now, Detroit is coming on. That much is clear. And surprising a lot of people, the early play of San Francisco. And there's a reformation going on, Frank.
And in Oakland's division, San Diego and Kansas City.
And don't forget the Packers.
Wilson complete over the middle on second down and 10. That'll be the final play of the game. But Grant, as I said before, cannot be all that happy with what he's watched tonight.